The mystical dragon attempts an epic summon for a goddess with legendary healing vibes, but instead of a divine beauty, Kim Oh-jin pops up, looking totally wrecked and confused. He figures he's kicked the bucket and starts the classic cinematic flashback. Vet school was a nightmare. He survives the screaming professors, grabs his license, and grinds through 3 years of low-wage hell. After hustling non-stop to save stray animals, our boy finally scrapes together enough cash to launch his own tiny clinic. But it's a total flop. 0 customers, broken signboard, just sad vibes. One night, drowning in debt and staring at the ceiling, he reflects on his messy life when he hears a weird noise. Before he can even blink, bam! He's teleported to a cave dripping in gold and magic circles. He's convinced he's landed in hell, so he demands answers. The dragon says it summoned a vet for its pet. Oh-jin braces himself for some Godzilla-level nightmare. But the dragon reveals a tiny, weak fruit bat named Catalyst. Talk about an anticlimax. Seeing the dehydrated little guy, Oh-jin instantly flips the switch to doctor mode. Name? Symptoms? How long have you had him? The dragon puffs up 1 week, basically because owning exotic pets is the current dragon trend. Oh-jin remembers how much he hates impulsive, trendy owners. He narrows his eyes. Is he eating right? The dragon smirks. Fresh animal blood. Only the finest. Oh-jin facepalms. Hard. This is his biggest pet peeve, clueless owners. Frustrated, he snaps. Fruit bats don't drink blood. Genius. That's for vampires. Catulus has been starving for 1 whole week. The dragon shrinks back, admitting he's a total newbie. Oh-jin tears into him. 0 research? And this freezing cave temperature? It could kill him if he wakes up. The dragon tries to argue, but I'm an ice dragon. Oh-jin shuts him down. Cold is cold. Realizing he messed up big time, the dragon hangs his head, apologizing to Catulus. He promises to grab some fruit and send the bat back home. Grateful for the save, the beast offers Oh-jin 1 wish as a thank you gift. Oh-jin cracks a joke. Make me a filthy rich prince or a villainous heir. The dragon looks confused, but hands over his necklace. It's a legit magic pendant that grants wishes, as long as there's no evil intent. As it starts glowing, Oh-jin figures he's definitely crossing over to the afterlife. Panic wish. Take me back to the early days of Bitcoin. The dragon watches him vanish, then rushes to get fruit, still wondering what kind of weird goddess that was. Moments later, our boy materializes on a loud, crowded street, bursting with food smells. Is this a respawn? A possession? A fruit seller eyes his weird clothes. You, a traveler? She welcomes him to Belmore, a region famous for markets and inns. But before he can reply, chaos. A massive rabbit barrels down the street, inhaling carrots. People scramble, screaming. Oh-jin just stands there, stunned to see a literal monster chilling in public like it's normal. Run! That's Lord Belmore's pet, the seller screams. But Oh-jin spots a little girl freezing up in front of the beast. 0 hesitation. He dives in and yanks her to safety just before the creature strikes. As the rabbit lunges again, the pendant flashes. Bam! A magical blue leash snaps around the beast. The crowd gasps. Is he a wizard? The seller stares, realizing this guy is definitely not a tourist. Lord Belmore storms in, absolutely livid to see his precious pet tied up. Oh-jin explains it almost crushed a kid, but Belmore is in total denial. Oh-jin loses it. Owners who ignore red flags are the worst. He warns that the rabbit's bite could crack a human skull. The crowd silently cheers for the truth bomb. He inspects the rabbit, domestic breed, but something is definitely off. Signs of massive stress and overeating. Why is this animal acting out? He demands. Belmore crumbles. She pulls her fur out. Oh-jin gets real. That stress is a killer. Keep her out of crowds. Let her roam free at home for exercise. And stop spoiling her. Belmore starts crying, admitting he gets roasted for owning a rabbit. But he sees Oh-jin as the real deal. He snaps his fingers for the butler and hands over a bag of gold. Please, check on Elizabeth sometimes. He apologizes to his giant bunny and heads out with her. Our boy's barely done, muttering never coming back here under his breath when bam! A crowd swarms him. They're hyping up Oh-jin's courage like he's a superhero. The fruit vendor? She's practically bowing, thanking him for saving her stall and sliding him a sweet discount. But when he drops the "I'm broke" bomb, she just points at his pouch. He cracks it open and freezes it stuffed with legit gold coins. He bites one old school style. Metallic crunch? Check. A slow, satisfied grin spreads across his face. Finally, he can launch a new clinic here and wipe out that crushing debt from the human world. Fast forward, and Oh-jin's thanking a room full of job seekers. He eyes the crowd, half amused, telling them he genuinely hopes one of them has what it takes to make the cut. Then he drops the hammer. Let the interviews begin. He calls it a game of life and death. Dramatic much? For a split second, his mind flashes back to Lord Belmore. That guy was the real MVP, handed over land and cash, the second Oh-jin decided to set up shop in this realm. Thanks to that heavy-duty support, Branch number 2 opens without a hitch. Belmore even hooked him up with a fully prepped storefront. Weird detail though? It's jammed with rabbit supplies. Like, everywhere. But hey, Oh-jin's not complaining. Free is free. That connection with Belmore is already paying dividends. But as the daily grind takes over, reality hits. He knows absolutely zero about this world, especially regarding that dragon who dragged him here. That scaly liar promised a return ticket home, then ghosted him in this bizarre land. Determined to get answers, he slaps a sign on the door. Animal hospital hiring now. The goal? Find a unicorn who can juggle assistant work and technician duties. Game time. Oh-jin straightens up, eyeing the lineup of hopefuls like a hawk. First up, Thomas. Guy starts yapping about his noble lineage, his strict dad, his saint of a mom, blah blah blah. Oh-jin zones out immediately. The ego on this guy is exhausting. Next, enter candidate number 2, Philip. He claims his family's been in the animal business for generations. Okay, now we're talking. Sounds legit, right? Until he drops the bomb. They run a butcher shop. Hard pass. Oh-jin mentally shreds his resume instantly. Apparently, finding a normal human in this dimension is mission impossible. Then, the third candidate steps up. This guy looks like a walking red flag, pale, twitchy, with eyes that scream, I have issues. Oh-jin tries to be the bigger person. Don't judge a book by its cover. But that goes out the window when the dude literally flings himself onto the floor. He starts begging like his life depends on it. Nope. Done. Oh-jin decides right there. Judging people by looks? Totally valid strategy from now on. Effective immediately. Before he can even kick the guy out, a young woman steps out of the queue. She doesn't say a word. Wham! She decks the creep right in the face, sending him flying across the room like a rag doll. She dusts off her hands and introduces herself. Selena, a roaming animal expert who knows basic treatments. The vibe? Total boss energy. Oh-jin is shook in a good way. He hires her on the spot. Cut to the next afternoon. Our boy is chilling in his cozy new clinic. He's soaking up the sunlight, feeling good. But check the clock, it's noon, and Selena is MIA. Did he pull the trigger too fast on hiring her? Just as he's debating putting up another help wanted sign, a knock echoes at the door. Expecting his violent but capable assistant, he swings it open only to face a total stranger. Minutes later, the guy's sipping tea like he owns the place. Oh-jin keeps the polite customer service smile plastered on, but inside, he is screaming. Finally, customer number 1. This is the first real step to clearing that mountain of debt. He flashes back to his old clinic, the one that tanked because he had zero chill. He remembers losing it on a client who wouldn't brush their dog's teeth. He screamed so hard he got labeled the crazy rude vet across town. Not this time. New plan. Smile, stay zen, and charm the cash right out of their wallets. Back to reality. He asks about the pet. The stranger grins and points to his pocket. Out comes a tiny lizard named Pojak. Oh-jin almost sighs with relief. It actually looks like a normal animal for once. No weird fantasy hybrid monsters today. But that relief? Yeah. It lasts about 5 seconds. The guy casually admits he grabbed the tail until it popped off. Oh-jin has to physically restrain himself from roasting the guy alive. Focus on the lizard. Just focus. He inspects Pojak. Dry, red skin. Classic signs of improper shedding. The poor thing is miserable. As he explains this, the owner drops a warning. He gets a little feisty. Feisty? Try homicidal. The little reptile spits. A literal flamethrower burst straight at Oh-jin's face. Before he can even blink, Selena crashes through the door and shoves him out of the kill zone. Saved by the bell. The flames torch the wall where his head just was. Oh-jin's on the floor, dazed, tasting a little blood. He groans, muttering that taking the fire to the face might have hurt less than Selena's tackle. Then it hits him. His first patient isn't just a lizard. It's a salamander, a fire-breathing nightmare you definitely can't handle barehanded. Does this place even have fireproof gear? Meanwhile, the customer is gazing at Selena with hard eyes, calling her beautiful while she grills him. She grills him on where he scooped up the critter. He puffs out his chest, bragging he snagged it from the mountain back of the village, claims it was total love at first sight. Selena cuts the romance short, keeping a salamander straight up illegal. Those things are endangered thanks to poachers going overboard. Still, she throws him a lifeline. If they say they're holding it strictly for medical rehab, the cops might look the other way, assuming he releases the beast once it's healed. But the guy clamps onto Pojak like a lifeline, eyes welling up with waterworks. He refuses to let go. Suddenly, he sprints for the exit, screaming that nobody is tearing him away from his soulmate. Oh-jin just stands there, jaw on the floor, staring at the empty doorframe. Selena freezes for a split second before our boy snaps at her to chase the guy down. And just like that, the clinic's debut appointment morphs into a slapstick marathon through the streets. Just another chaotic Tuesday in Oh-jin's unscripted new life. The local fruit vendor, who was just vibe-checking how peaceful life felt without the Lord Reverend's drama, quickly learns that quiet days are a myth. She dives behind her crates as the stampede flies by, deciding to mind her own business. The man weaves through the mob, hugging his mystery bundle with desperate, frantic energy, while our boy tails him, lungs burning but refusing to quit. The fruit lady peeps out at the madness, whispering that, whatever drama is unfolding, she wants zero parts of it. The runner is panicking now, muttering that everyone is out to snatch Pojak away. Oh-jin and Selena keep up the pursuit until their cardio finally fails them. Gasping for air, she roasts Oh-jin for being out of shape, then snaps back to the salamander's critical state. He confesses the creature's molt has layered up dangerously, it needs help. Stat. Selena's face goes pale as the risk clicks. She breaks it down. A salamander that can't shed its skin turns into a walking time bomb, ready to nuke everything nearby. No time for a breather. They have to locate the beast before the town goes boom. Meanwhile, thinking he's in the clear, the runaway makes it home. Sighing with relief, he sets Pojak on the table, convinced their bond is written in the stars. His adrenaline shifts into artistic flow as he starts crooning, letting a weird melody drift through the room. But the creative vibe dies instantly when Pojak starts vibrating and bursts into flames. In seconds, his crib is a blazing inferno. Choking on smoke, the guy actually tries to debate with the salamander. Reaching out like a hug is going to fix a fire hazard. Pojak responds with another blast, turning the heat up to 11. Selena crashes in just in time to drag the guy to safety, while our boy squares up against the heat, determined to lock this situation down. He's thinking a fire extinguisher would be clutch right now. Suddenly, his pendant flares up. When the glow fades, Oh-jin finds exactly that sitting in his grip. No time to question the magic delivery service. He dives in, spraying the blaze, until the salamander's fury cools off and the room goes silent, except for the hiss of rising steam. As the smoke clears, Selena scans the wreckage. The man is sitting in the debris, muttering that the meltdown was just a molt gone wrong. He swears he'll be a better dad next time, his voice dripping with delusion. Our boy watches him, skeptical. Does this guy even know what taking care of something means? Love without a clue? Oh-jin figures, is just selfishness wearing a fancy costume. Later in the woods, Pojak finally sheds its skin. Moments later, Selena notices it's got way more energy, while our boy is shook by its massive size. The man looks at his pet with bittersweet pride, whispering that it's time to set it free. He watches Pojak vanish into the timber, mumbling promises of eternal love that the animal definitely doesn't understand. Oh-jin rolls his eyes hard, thinking this level of drama is just asking for trouble. But the guy is in his own world, thinking this is some noble sacrifice. The scene gets surprisingly wholesome when Pojak pauses on a rock and launches a massive fireball skyward. The flames explode into legitimate fireworks, lighting up the dusk. The man gazes up, completely choked up, while our boy quietly marks the case as closed. A few days later, the same guy pops up in the town square, rebranding himself as Roya. He's strumming a guitar by the fountain, kids dancing around, as he belts out a quirky track about Oh-jin's exploits. The song goes viral locally, boosting the mood of everyone within earshot. Selena watches from the sidelines, half grinning, while our boy stands next to her, trying to look bored but secretly intrigued. When he hears locals chatting about bringing their sick pets to him, Oh-jin suddenly decides Roya's singing isn't half bad. But then, the fallout hits. Outside Oh-jin's clinic, a mob assembles so thick it blocks the whole block. Dozens are chanting his name, waving cash and demanding checkups. Our boy freezes, realizing his chill lifestyle is officially dead. Selena, staring down the endless queue, grumbles that she should probably just quit while she's ahead. Oh-jin wakes up to a harsh reality. His tiny clinic has accidentally morphed into the town's hottest hotspot. Regular morning? Yeah, right. Outside, birds chirp like nothing's wrong, mocking the massive queue snake winding out the door. Oh-jin wraps up an exam and dismisses the patient with orders for a checkup. Selena looms over him, dropping the truth bomb. At this pace, he'll be a straight-up corpse by next week. Make that bag while you're breathing. Our boy sighs and summons the next case, realizing it's been 2 months. Clinic number 2 is booming. Guess those morning birds were good luck charms after all. The launch was brutal, total chaos. But once the cash started flowing, worth it. Suddenly, a head pops through the doorway, asking, "Y'all still open?" Selena instantly barks, "Closed," but Oh-jin waves the straggler inside. Classic softy, hands busy healing. Oh-jin's mind drifts, processing the rules of this strange new world. Outside, the gossip is all about fur babies. Coco's fasting again. Check out Mr. Whisker's red eye. Even here, cats and dogs are glued to humanity's side, though the diseases are alien. Oh-jin finally stretches his aching back, declaring himself officially wrecked. Selena drops the good news. Last one. Oh-jin perks up. "What is it?" "A shaman," she replies flatly. "Former hunters turn trendy pets. Problem is, they only love their owners and savage everyone else. Abandonment rates? Sky high." Our boy growls. People buying living things for clout need to vanish. He remembers the stats on these beasts. They grow chest high, packing claws and fangs designed to shred wild boars like wet paper. Watch your back, Selena warns. But the monster walks in a tiny, exhausted shaman pup, barely 2 months old. He's been limping since yesterday, the owner explains. Oh-jin palpates the leg. Joints this young shouldn't be failing. He checks the paw bullseye. A nasty thorn. Tweezers out, yank, disinfect. He'll be right as rain. The tiny shaman wobbles on unsteady legs. Our boy watches, silent. Even cold, Selena throws a curious glance as they exit. Oh-jin exhales, a massive sigh of relief. Freedom. Selena eyes him. You looked happy. He blinks, confused, when she asks if it was the cute fuzzball or the clocking out. Rare to see you smiling, she teases, unless cash is involved. Oh-jin shrugs. No critical cases today. That's a win. He gets real. The vet life sucks when animals suffer. Caring too much tears you apart, so he keeps his heart on ice. Flashback to his old world. A client extending a vacation while their pet waited an extra month. He remembers snapping at them. That was the turning point. Since then, he's been roasting bad owners left and right. Darkness falls. Sun's down, Selena notes. Oh-jin, thinking of the mob they served, urges her to hustle. Let's move before it's pitch black. Suddenly, a familiar face, the interview guy, appears outside, screaming for help. Oh-jin shoots Selena a look. Do you do exorcisms? She smirks. Only if I can punch the ghosts in the face. Suddenly, the guy crashes in, snatches our boy, and yeets him out the window. Selena stands there, absolutely shook. Cut to the forest. Oh-jin is face planted on the dirt. The kidnapper is apologizing profusely, rambling, claiming he didn't realize Oh-jin had zero cardio. Oh-jin gasps. Who the hell are you? Not a ghost, just a guy. I'm Schwein, he stammers. Territory civil servant. He dragged Oh-jin here because of the rumors, specifically, that miracle work with the Lord's rabbit. The mission? Catch a stray dog. Oh-jin balks. I'm a vet, not a dog catcher. Selena, materializing out of nowhere, adds, we don't do rescues. Schwein begs, you're our last shot. The T. 2 months ago, a stray claimed a strategic spot halfway up the mountain, smack in the middle of a planned hiking trail. They've tried everything to snag it, but this dog has supreme agility. Construction kicks off in 48 hours. If they fail, they send in the troops. Kill on sight order. Oh-jin goes dead silent. Finally, he whispers, where is it? He adds a disclaimer, I don't catch, I just look. Schwein nods frantically, pointing up the slope. Oh-jin cuts him off. I haven't said yes, just looking. Selena smirks, reading his soul. Oh, you're definitely doing it. Arrival. Schwein points to the lair. Suddenly snap. A noise cuts through the air, and a shaman steps out of the gloom. Oh-jin freezes, he knows this breed. Selena sighs. Everyone wants a shaman. Until they don't. It's the trendy pet catastrophe. Everyone buys them, and then tosses them like garbage. Oh-jin locks eyes with the beast, assessing the damage. He spots the signs immediately. This poor thing has been surviving solo for nearly 2 months, ribs showing, likely running on empty that entire time. Suddenly, snap. A weird noise rips through the tree line. Everyone jumps, hearts pounding, convinced some massive beast is about to charge. Our boy whips his head around, but the shaman is faster. It lets out a blood-curdling scream and launches straight at him. Selena moves like lightning, yanking our boy back just in time, and shouting that it's way too risky to be this close. But Oh-jin cuts in, dropping some serious survival knowledge. Turning your back and sprinting away from a pissed-off dog is literally the worst thing you can do. Selena argues back, saying that standing there like a statue is just an invite to get shredded. Our boy shakes his head, running just triggers the creature's prey drive. They need a distraction, fast. But before he can even finish the sentence, the shaman suddenly freezes mid-rampage. The air gets heavy. Everyone pauses, totally confused by the switch-up. Our boy frowns. Why'd he stop? He remembers Schwein, calling this thing a hunter. If a hunting dog is actually out for blood, it doesn't just walk away. But that's exactly what happens. The shaman turns tail and fades back into the woods like a ghost. Selena rolls her eyes, muttering that nobody knows what goes on inside a dog's head. Schwein pipes up, mentioning that this dog has a habit of running people off, and it's become such a massive headache that the nearby villagers are constantly blowing up his phone with complaints. Oh-jin gets that look on his face. The gears are turning. What exactly are they complaining about? He asks. Schwein paints a grim picture. The locals talk about it like it's some vicious demon stalking the mountain, a ticking time bomb they want caged immediately. Our boy processes this, then drops the million-dollar question. Has anyone actually been bitten? Schwein opens his mouth to say yes, then freezes. He admits it's 0 injuries, not a single scratch. Our boy turns to Selena. Didn't you say shamans are loyal to a fault? He asks if she still stands by that. Selena nods firmly. Absolutely. Oh-jin's eyes light up, like the puzzle pieces just fell into place. Fast forward to the next morning, Oh-jin and Selena head straight for the village, at the mountain's base. New mission. They're not here to fight a stray anymore. They're here to solve a mystery. Our boy is dead set on finding the original owner. If they want to get through to that dog, they need to know its history. Sure, throwing down some treats and setting a trap would be faster, but he knows that won't fly here. That dog is skin and bones, yet it refuses to be swayed. That's not instinct. That's a bond deeper than hunger. Walking through the village, Oh-jin can't stop thinking about the cruelty of it. He pictures owners giving that soft stay command, promising they'll be right back, only to drive off and never return. That betrayal is exactly what's breaking this shaman. Our boy has seen people dump the creatures that trust them most, and it makes his blood boil. He clenches his fist, making a silent vow. When they find the owner, there's going to be a reckoning. He's going to make them look at the mess they made and see just how much that loyal creature has suffered. They start grilling the locals, and the stories start lining up. One guy mentions a woman named Gabrielle and her husband, claiming the guy can't work because of the demon dog on the mountain. Parents are terrified, banning their kids from the woods, scared of what's hiding in the trees. Even the local teenagers are spreading horror stories. Then there's this old guy rambling about losing cash years ago, totally random, but it adds to the chaos. But one thing is crystal clear. This whole town hates that dog's guts. Hours later, they slump against a wall in a quiet alley. They're exhausted and sick of hearing the same ghost stories. Oh-jin has a hunch. What if the owner isn't even from here? Selena nods, catching his drift. Makes sense, she says. Everyone here treats the dog like a public enemy. Suddenly, a woman with long, flowing hair steps up. She's been listening. Her face is dead serious. You're looking for Jake, she says softly. He owned the dog. She motions for them to follow. She guides them to a cabin way off the beaten path, practically swallowed by the forest. Jake was a loner, she explains. Kept to himself, stayed away from the town drama. That's why nobody knows the real story. They arrive at a tiny wooden shack. She stops at a fresh mound of earth near the door. Jake passed away 2 months ago, she whispers. Caught in a landslide. He had no kin, so I handled the burial myself. Then she drops the truth bomb. Jake didn't abandon the dog. He just never came home. She admits she tried to take the dog in, but it wouldn't leave. Her voice cracks with pure heartbreak. She's practically shattering on the floor, pleading for them to save the pup she calls Max. That desperation? It hits Oh-jin like a freight train. Guilt washes over him cold and heavy as he realizes he totally misread the vibe. Our boy sends up a silent prayer for Jake to find peace, swallowing his regret before locking in. He swears on everything they are getting Max out of there, whatever it takes. Cut to the tree line. Sven spots the officers and stops dead. He wasn't expecting the cavalry until the following day, figuring they must have wrapped up their last gig way ahead of schedule. He tries to buy time, suggesting they put the hit on Max on hold until sunrise, but the officers, they aren't hearing it. One of them cuts him off. Why wait? The locals already hate the mutt. Best to scrub the problem right now. He figures nobody's gonna cry if they punch out a day early. Meanwhile, back at Jake's crib, Oh-jin steps across the threshold and gets hit instantly by the heavy aroma of medicinal herbs. Dead giveaway, Jake was definitely a herbalist. Selena suggests they grab something soaked in the owner's scent, gesturing toward some worn clothes hanging nearby. But our boy's gaze gets snagged by a framed photo on the shelf, Jake and Max, looking like best buds. It makes him wonder what kind of tragedy befell a guy who loved his dog this much. Suddenly, Selena clocks another picture on the wall and flags it. It's a snapshot of a mandrake. She pieces it together. Jake must have gone hunting for one right after that photo was taken. Our boy remembers catching a flick about those things once. Selena breaks it down. It's the screaming plant, rare, elusive, and a nightmare to harvest. Click. They both recall that ungodly shriek coming from the woods yesterday. Dangerous? Yes. But a mandrake is a gold mine, the holy grail for any herbalist. Cut to the cave entrance. Max is sitting there, eyes glued to the sky, drowning in memories of his human. Flashback to that rainy day when he and Jake ducked into this very cave. Jake was laughing at the sudden storm, debating if they should wait out the deluge. He got a fire crackling, then draped a wool blanket over Max, teasing him to sit still or risk a sniffle. Max snuggled in tight, and Jake, bone-tired but happy, grinned and said they really lucked out finding this spot. But as he scanned the cave, Jake's eyes widened, a plant clinging to the rock wall, that leaf shape. No mistake, it was a mandrake. Pure shock. He confessed he never thought he'd see one outside a textbook. Adrenaline spiking, he decided to sprint home for his tools, telling Max to stay put. I'll be right back. Max let out a soft bark, but Jake promised it wasn't far. Smiling, he stepped back into the downpour. Then, chaos. A massive landslide tore down the mountain, burying him instantly. Lights out. Time drifted on. The fire faded to cold ash. But Max? He stayed rooted to the spot. A week later, some hikers wandered through. One spotted the dog, clearly camped out for days. They assumed he was dumped and, feeling bad, tried to toss him some food. But when they got close, Max shrieked and scrambled back in terror, scaring them off. Immediately, spooked, the hikers retreated, muttering that the beast was dangerous and it was no wonder the owner ditched him. Max just crept back to his vigil, waiting for a ghost, totally unaware Jake was never coming back. Back in the now, while Max is lost in the past, the squad closes in. One officer notes the sun is dipping low, no time to waste. They need to wrap this up and hit the lodge. They square up on Max, loading tranquilizer darts heavy enough to drop a mystic. Sven is practically begging for 60 more minutes, explaining he's got a specialist incoming to handle the rescue. From what Sven's seen, Max isn't a monster. He's just a loyal boy with a heartbreaking backstory. The officer? Stone cold. He says they aren't here for story time. Their paycheck is for protecting the village, and that's the bottom line. He raises the rifle, locking onto the target. Max is panting hard, stress levels peaking. Finger on the trigger, boom! Selena and Oh-jin burst onto the scene just in time. Selena screams that this is a rescue op, not an execution. Right then, Max's vision blurs. He sees a shimmering image of his owner standing there, wearing that gentle smile. The figure whispers he's finally back for him, acknowledging the long, lonely wait. Joy floods the dog's heart, and Max steps forward, tail thumping, convinced his dad is finally home. Our boy Oh-jin steps up, voice dialed down low, admitting he isn't the one Max waited for, but whispering, "It's time to go home, buddy." Darkness swallows the forest, where a deer is sprinting for its life, hunted by something with glowing yellow eyes slicing through the gloom. A blood-curdling shriek rips through the trees, shattering the peace. Come morning, the vibe shifts inside Oh-jin's clinic, interrupted by a customer bursting in, frantic for help. Our boy looks down and sees a ping-pong panda, so incredibly chonky it can barely wobble. Oh-jin is baffled, but the owner insists the bear is wasting away, claiming he barely eats only 7 meals a day. Oh-jin sighs, warning that if this fluffball doesn't slim down fast, it's bad, real bad. The owner freezes, eyes wide with denial, while our boy just waves his hand. Next, silence fills the room until Schwein breezes in, flashing that trademark polite grin and dropping a casual greeting to our doc. Seeing him instantly triggers a flashback for Ogun Max, that mountain dog who came down alone after his human passed away. Poor thing spent days camped out by his master's grave, refusing to accept Jake was gone, breaking every heart in the village, until Schwein stepped up, visiting and caring for the pup, until Max finally let him in. Ogun shoots him a look. "What brings you here? Max, okay?" Schwein shakes his head, reaching into his bag to pull out. "A mandrake?" Selena clocks something weird immediately. That root is fully exposed, hovering above the dirt, unlike regular mandrakes that stay buried deep underground. Schwein breaks it down. Jake found this little creeper before he checked out and decided to keep it as a souvenir. But trying to replant it was a nightmare. The thing kept clawing its way out of the earth, shrieking non-stop, day and night. It got so bad, the whole village had to plug their ears, and a few poor souls even blew out their eardrums. Selena nods, knowingly classic mandrake drama. Those things are notoriously picky about their vibes. Schwein lets out a heavy sigh. The thing is unmanageable. It's only quiet right now because it's passed out cold, but the second it wakes up, total anarchy. He begs Ogun to take it, but our boy shuts him down. "Cold. I treat animals, buddy, not potted plants. And if it screams, it definitely ain't a plant." Schwein shakes his head. "It's not a plant, or an animal. It's something way worse. A demon." Ogun rolls his eyes. "If it's a demon, take it to church, not a clinic." Before they can argue, the mandrake twitches. Schwein goes full panic mode, yelling, "It's waking up." He dumps the plant and sprints out of the clinic with his crew, leaving our boy in the dust. Ogun screams curses at their backs. He's seen people dump pets before, but abandoning a houseplant? That's a new low. Selena thinks fast, trapping the mandrake under a glass shield. "Relax, boss. These things are gold mines for medicine. Leaf to root. They can literally bring back the dying." Our boy just grumbles useless if the thing is uncontrollable. Suddenly, the creature's eyes snap open. Selena shouts a warning. "Cover your ears, it's gonna blow our eardrums out." Ogun scrambles, whining about his missing noise-canceling headphones, bracing for the sonic boom. But, silence. The thing just smiles. Confused? Understatement. Selena studies it closely. "I think it likes you. Show it your necklace." He pulls it out, and the mandrake goes nuts, eyes sparkling, literally dancing, a little jig. Our boy is stunned. Selena cracks up. "It looks like one of those dancing flower toys," he grimaces. Gross comparison, Selena. But she insists he keep it in his room for now. He complains, kicks, and screams, but ends up taking the plant anyway. That night, a pounding on the door jolts him awake. He's yelling about overtime fees until a woman bursts in carrying a bloody dog. It's a bloodbath. Seeing those deep gashes, Oh-jin's face falls. This is too deep. I can't stop this kind of bleeding. Selena jumps in. The mandrake leaves. They clot blood instantly. He gives the nod, and she rushes the plant. The mandrake side-eyes her hard. She freezes. Boss? You ask him. Oh-jin groans, begging a salad for permission. Ridiculous. But he swallows his pride. The moment he asks for a leaf, the thing beams, wiggles, and starts humming a tune. Still weirded out, he grabs the leaf. It works like magic. Bleeding stops. Dog saved. The woman is sobbing with relief while our boy yawns, tells her to book a checkup, and shuffles back to bed. Barely 30 minutes later, another desperate knock shatters the silence. Now, it's a guy at the door, cradling a mauled deer, eyes pleading for a miracle. The deer is shredded. Oh-jin's expression darkens. These aren't hunting wounds. This is torture. Someone enjoyed this. Psychopath, he mutters. The villagers look confused. Is that a new type of monster? Then a quiet voice speaks up. A little girl whispers, "It's Baron Doyle's pet wolf. He does it for fun." Oh-jin's shock turns into pure rage. He starts cursing the noble out, screaming about how this is legal, demanding to see the animal protection laws. He's a baron. They shrug. He can do whatever he wants. Our boy loses it, ranting about liberty, justice, and the rule of law. He's shouting about democracy, to blank stares until Selena snaps him back to reality. Doc, the deer. 1 week later, the clinic is under siege. A massive mob is outside, screaming for the doctor to save their mangled pets. Oh-jin snaps. Exhausted and furious, he storms out, shouting, "I'm done! We can't live like this! It's time for a revolution!" Like a general, he marches the angry mob straight to Doyle's mansion, chanting anti-Baron slogans and demanding justice for the animals. They're ready for war. Until the Baron's guards step out and ask for our boy by name. "Damn, news travels fast," he grumbles, stepping into the light to drop his name. Expecting a fight, he's shook when the guards instantly bow down. They give him the VIP treatment straight into the castle. But the vibe shifts inside a massive bloodfang. Wolf is sprawled across the floor, bleeding out. Baron Doyle is hovering over it, an absolute wreck, begging Oh-jin to save his fur baby. He's promising a blank check, anything to fix him. Our boy and Selena stand frozen, eyes wide. They're staring face to face with the nightmare fuel that's been terrorizing the whole region. Fast forward a week of brutal beast attacks. The townspeople huddle up, spilling tea about some magical cryptid spotted lurking in the western forest. Word on the street? The banished wolf is toast. Now, there's a kaiju-level man-eater stalking the tree line. It leveled up from livestock to humans. Panic sweeps the crowd like a virus. Some are convinced it's game over for the village. People are packing bags to flee to the lower settlement. But the loyalists insist everyone needs to chill because Baron Doyle is on the case. He's launched a full-scale monster hunt. We're talking massive traps in the forest and soldiers patrolling 24/7. The locals are praising the Baron like he's their savior, feeling totally safe. Our boy listens to the hype, knowing it's total BS. He flashes back to the Baron, sobbing, screaming for his squad, demanding they catch the beast that hurt his baby, while his staff scramble to do damage control and hush everything up. To Oh-jin, this feels just like the media spin doctors back on Earth. Selena stands next to him, noticing the exhausted look in his eyes. Our boy connects the dots. Most of the injured critters at the clinic came from the eastern forest, right next door. But the Baron's wolf got wrecked deep in the west. Despite that huge red flag, the Baron's goons are obsessed with the western woods, totally ghosting the east. Selena's picking up on the sketchy vibes, too. Locals treat the western forest like a haunted house. Nobody goes there. While they're brainstorming, a guy from the glass workshop waves them in the custom order is ready. The syringes. We're talking mouth-blown reinforced glass spiked with albarium powder. These bad boys are heat-proof and shock-resistant. Our boy inspects the loot, blown away by the craftsmanship. He calls the tech insane, marveling that this was all done by hand. The craftsman admits it was a nightmare to make and swears he's one and done. Oh-jin drops a heavy bag of coin, locking in that partnership despite the guy's hesitation. Piece by piece, the clinic starts getting decked out with new gear. Renovations kick off. Selena inspects the layout, shook by how organized and modern it looks. Our boy smiles, thinking, now this feels like a legit hospital. One day, a dude walks in with bundles of herbs, showing off strains with wild effects. We've got instant knockout gas, stomachache cures, cough suppressants, and even a natural antiseptic. Oh-jin checks them out, totally mind blown. This stuff is god tier, rumor has it. Some can even cure fatal diseases. He grumbles that even modern medicine back home can't compete. Selena roasts him for being a skeptic. But suddenly, a girl bursts in. Screaming for Oh-jin to move, they caught the monster in the forest. Soldiers, hunting hounds, and Baron Doyle are circled around a shattered trap, with a terrifying roar echoing through the timber. The soldiers push in, yelling that the beast is cornered. As our boy steps up, the creature's massive shadow looms, only to reveal a small, angry cat hissing at them. The whole crowd goes dead silent. The soldiers hesitate, realizing it's just a random stray. But the Baron loses it, swearing this is the exact beast that traumatized his wolf. He points at its claws and teeth like they're demonic weapons. Oh-jin realizes with a sinking feeling the soldiers aren't joking. They toss a net over the kitty. It's screaming and struggling, and the Baron just laughs, ordering them to burn it alive. Our boy tries to stop it, but the Baron demands a public execution. Watching the terrified animal being dragged away, our boy flashes back to his old life. A man once rushed a battered stray into his clinic, saying he used to feed it downtown, until some psycho heard it. Oh-jin called people like that demons he hates, animal abusers more than anything. Snap back to reality. The cat shreds the net, sending the soldiers into a total panic. While they scream to trap it again, our boy's brain lights up. He screams for everyone to cover their mouths and noses right now. He points dramatically at the cat's forehead. A scar shaped like the letter M is glowing faintly above its eyes. He drops the bomb. That's the mark of a great demon, the harbinger of a global plague. The mark of Gona, the great pandemic. Oh-jin goes full theater kid, claiming the cat is a demon, the literal embodiment of the plague. He spins a tale that it started with rats, then jumped to a cat that feasted on the infected rodents, absorbing their dark magic, mutating into a supercarrier. According to our boy, this kitty is ground zero for the apocalypse. Once it spreads, he warns, half the population gets deleted. The mob, already thirsty for blood. The squad isn't buying a word of it, and even Baron Doyle starts grilling our boy, poking holes in the narrative. Oh-jin doesn't flinch, spinning a tale about a parallel dimension that battled a similar outbreak, a world defined by masks, lockdowns, and absolute anarchy. He swears this critter might be packing demonic energy, but it's just a cub young enough to be contained. Our MC claims his world found a cure, hinting the same logic applies here. He shoots a desperate look at Selena, praying she'll play along with his bluff. She doesn't miss a beat, explaining that feline blood mixed with specific herbs could synthesize an antidote. Oh-jin keeps a poker face, but internally, he's sweating bullets. The soldiers laugh it off, but before the vibe gets too hostile, the Baron cuts in. He gives Oh-jin exactly 1 week. The mission? Heal the beast, present it at the castle, and then, a public execution. Back at the clinic, our boy collapses in relief, giving major props to Selena for her clutch acting skills. But she hits him with a twist. She wasn't lying. Technically, a cure exists using the creature and mandrake roots, but we're talking a supply chain of hundreds of mandrakes. She questions his motives, warning that if this monster wakes up fully, its power level will be off the charts. Oh-jin drops the truth bomb. This cat isn't the villain. He pulls up the injury records from the village attacks, noting the claw marks don't match. The size and shape are completely wrong for a cat this small. It points to a different predator entirely. Selena connects the dots immediately. Magma, Baron Doyle's pet wolf, is the real slasher, and the cat was just throwing hands in self-defense. Our boy nods, but flags how suspicious it is that the Baron, who covered up Magma's crimes before, is suddenly framing a new beast and launching a public hunt. He smells a rat, the hunt is just a smokescreen, and capturing the cat alive is the real objective. Selena realizes this explains why Doyle wanted it taken alive, instead of just ending it, and why he bought Oh-jin's sketchy story so fast. The jab at his lying skills stings our boy, but he refocuses on the cat's condition. That forehead scar ain't natural, and the old markings on its legs scream long-term abuse. He vows to expose the nightmare this creature survived. Selena studies him, realizing he's not the cash-grabbing vet she pegged him for. There's a genuine tenderness in his hands. Until, bam, our boy aggressively snuggles the cat, burying his face in the fur and shouting about how fluffy it is. Welp, Selena's respect evaporates. She decides he's just a psycho, while the mandrake in the corner fumes with jealousy. Next morning, creepy wails echo outside. The villagers gather, trembling at the eerie noise. The rumor mill goes into overdrive. Our boy is battling a demon, purifying the plague's origin. In a matter of hours, public opinion flips, turning him into a living legend, a sorcerer from another dimension. They chant his name, hailing Kim Oh-jin as the Great Wizard. Meanwhile, totally oblivious to his new celebrity status, our boy tries to feed the cat and gets swiped across the face again. The attitude problem is annoying, but he notices the critter looks smaller. Selena observes that its size and mass have dropped over the last 3 days, speculating it's shedding demonic energy. Oh-jin shakes his head. It's just starving. Being hangry is fueling its rage, burning calories, and making it hungrier in a toxic loop. Just as our boy wishes for a choco snack, his chest tightens. The dragon's necklace activates. Light bursts forth, solidifying into a familiar, chocolatey treat. The snack zooms right into the cat's mouth, and it starts munching happily. Oh-jin sighs, feeding it with pure affection, while Selena watches, absolutely shook. As the beast eats, the scar on its forehead begins to glow. Selena freezes, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. This was never just a cat. It's a monosaurus, the horned lion, a mythical beast that ruled when dragons vanished and mana ran wild. They were considered sacred, their horns bringing rain to deserts and light to the void. Their hearts were literal mana generators, and that forehead horn was the divine antenna for all that power. But touching them meant instant death. After the Great Mana Famine, their numbers crashed, forcing them to disguise as common cats to survive. Even weakened, they kept that divine pride, untamable by humans except for one being, the spirit of healing. Back in the room, the cat finally takes a dump, and Oh-jin cheers like a proud dad, rewarding it with more choco. Selena, still skeptical, questions the wisdom of feeding it demonic treats. Cut to nightfall. A spy reports back to Baron Doyle. Check this out. The kitty is chowing down like a total angel, while our boy cradles it like a newborn baby. But Baron Doyle? He isn't buying the cute act, straining to hear his soldiers whispering in terror. Their vibes are off the charts. They're muttering about the devil's lion and that legendary plague, dropping red flags that this beast is anything but normal. They remind the Baron that 0 humans in history have ever tamed a monoceros, not even a sick one. Worst case scenario? The mana inside them goes nuclear, turning these fluffballs into literal walking biological weapons. One wrong move, they claim, and this thing could wipe an entire nation off the map. Baron Doyle feels a chill down his spine, flashing back to Oh-jin's dark stories about a plague that devoured his home dimension, a war humanity battled for years. Then it clicks, legend says, the Manhwa War rejects all human food. Doyle starts connecting the dots, wondering if our boy is sitting on secrets nobody else in this world understands. Fast forward to the next morning. The clinic is absolutely popping. The new hire, Pio, is crushing it at the front desk, calling in patients like a pro. The energy is immaculate and super organized, exactly how a top-tier clinic should run. Meanwhile, Selena is losing her cool with a loudmouth client whose pet won't sit still. Her patience snaps. In a fit of rage, she blasts a silence spell, instantly muting the room and freaking everyone out. Oh-jin watches, jaw on the floor, as she spams the spell on another customer, turning the clinic into a silent panic zone. Then, totally out of the blue, Selena demands a half-day off and vanishes into thin air. Later, our boy finds her scribbled note, saying she's going AWOL. The handwriting is chicken scratch, which just makes him madder. He rants that even a rookie vet wouldn't pull a stunt this unprofessional. Desperate to keep the ship afloat, that is why he hits up Pio, a neighbor he knows, to cover the shift. Surprise, surprise. Pio is an absolute machine. She's handling clients, hauling heavy gear, and keeping the flow smooth with a smile on her face. Her hustle impresses our boy so much he starts thinking about putting a ring on it, employment-wise, of course. But right in the middle of the grind, Oh-jin senses a shift. The clinic, usually a zoo of animal sounds, goes dead silent. The next morning, the mystery is solved when a regular patient walks in. It is Ping Ping the hamster. Oh-jin blinks, thinking he's hallucinating. The little guy who used to weigh half a kilogram has inflated to 10 times its original size, looking more like a small dog than a rodent. Oh-jin gasps, wondering if it somehow morphed into a panda. The owner laughs it off, calling it a flopper dog. That is when our boy realizes hamsters in this dimension have a totally different brand name. The owner looks confused, asking if Oh-jin doesn't know what a flopper is. Oh-jin starts sweating, but Pio swoops in with the save, spinning a story that Oh-jin is from a distant land, which explains his weird vocab and why his medical skills are light years ahead of the locals. The owner eats it up, convinced our boy is some prestigious international scholar. Feeling proud and relieved, he hires Pio full-time on the spot. Turning his attention back to Ping Ping, Oh-jin scans the massive fluff ball. The beast seems healthy, but that size and color? Definitely suspicious. He guesses it might have soaked up some wild growth magic. While he's investigating, the cat next to him gets a serious case of jealousy and pounces on the hamster. The second they touch, bam, Ping Ping splits into 3 identical clones. The whole room freezes. Oh-jin's brain breaks, trying to process the visual, screaming internally that this defies every law of physics in the book. The owner? He is crying tears of joy, hugging the trio, sobbing that after years of being solo, Ping Ping finally has a squad. Suddenly, one of the mini-clones darts across the room, sparking a high-speed chase. These tiny things are impossibly fast. To add to the madness, Selena spawns back in, appearing out of nowhere. With ninja-like reflexes, she snatches 2 with her hands and catches the third one in her mouth. She spits it out and identifies them as bloops. When asked where he got it, the owner admits it was a gift from his dad, totally clueless about what it really was. Selena decides to keep them for research, promising the owner they'll be safe. Oh-jin jumps in, swearing the clinic doesn't do creepy experiments without permission. although inside, he is questioning why he has to be the moral compass here. Later that night, Selena drops a lore bomb. Bloops aren't natural animals. They're artificial life forms cooked up by a mad wizard ages ago. Our boy is shook, realizing even fantasy worlds have unhinged scientists playing God. Selena defends the mage, claiming he wasn't evil, just misunderstood, and his creations were never meant to hurt anyone. Oh-jin points out that bloops were supposed to be extinct for a century, so seeing one now is super weird. Curiosity takes the wheel, and he casually asks Selena exactly how old she is. Big mistake. Before she can roast him, a weird gurgling noise erupts from the Siona nearby. Our boy spins around, worried, but a sharp knock cuts him off. A soldier barks an announcement from outside, and Baron Doyle strides right into Oh-jin's clinic like he owns the place. "I'll bring out the monster." The words taste like ash in his mouth. Cold sweat drips as panic sets in. Does he stash the cat or stage a prison break? He's running on fumes. Zero prep time. The past 7 days were a blur of sleepless nights just keeping that little furball alive. Plastering on a customer service smile, our boy greets the noble, but his brain? It's screaming at Selena for ghosting him. She dipped, leaving him to face the music solo. The Baron flops down like he owns the place, totally ignoring the tea and the vibes, and demands to see the beast. Now, Oh-jin stammers, playing the medical complications card. Treatment's not done yet, sir." The Baron's eyes go cold. Doors are open, aren't they? That means the job is finished. Time to freestyle. Our boy spins a wild yarn about a botched exorcism, creating a mysterious soul imprint, binding him and the cat together forever. The Baron's goons exchange side eyes, they ain't buying it. "This kid's losing it," they mutter. He can feel the lie crumbling like wet paper. "Pivot!" He flips the script. "Speaking of cats, why is there another black one rotting in your dungeon, Baron?" Bullseye. The noble flinches. Oh-jin doubles down. "You're plotting a bait and switch with an innocent stray, aren't you?" Triggered and defensive, the Baron gaslights him hard. "Lies. Those village attacks? That's on your incompetence, not the beast." Wrong again. Our boy drops the truth bomb. "The real killer is your pet wolf." He whips out a medical chart. "See these claw marks on the victims? That's a perfect match for a wolf, not a cat." One goon snatches the receipt's rip, shredded. He laughs while our boy grinds his teeth in frustration, silently cursing that this dimension doesn't have cloud backups. Suddenly, a heavy hand shoves Oh-jin out of the way and reaches for Shionja. Hiss. The cat swipes, drawing blood. Our boy's brain goes into overdrive. Summoning a steel carrier screams suspicious, and weapons just escalate things. He grips the pendant at his throat, debating the nuclear option. Using its power could blow his cover forever. But before he can pull the trigger, crash! The door flies open. Enter the cavalry. Selena and a tall, white-haired dude, radiating main character energy. "Stand down." The command hits like a whip. The Baron's face drains of color. He knows that world tree crest. The monocle. The swagger. That's Killian, head of the Supreme Inspection Agency and guardian of the Etherian Order. Big league. The Baron stutters a greeting, trying to save face with a snide comment about royalty visiting a dump like this. "Excuse me?" Oh-jin bristles at the shade thrown at his clinic, but bites his tongue. Killian cuts through the noise. "We received a distress signal regarding an endangered divine beast." Our boy is shook. This guy is literally glowing like a 4K movie character, stepped into reality. So that's where Selena disappeared to. She steps up, handing the cage to the boss man, and realization hits. "Check the ears," pointed. Selena was an elf the whole time. "Careful, sir," she warns. "It's spicy." Killian whispers an incantation. Whoosh. A sphere of azure mana wraps around Xionja. The kitty floats, weightless. Killian zooms in on the nasty scar on its forehead, noting, it matches a World Tree branch cross-section. The signature of a mana extractor, illegal tech, used to vampire drain sacred beings. His chill vibe evaporates. He turns on the Baron, eyes blazing. "Did you sever the Monoceros's horn?" The noble shakes like a leaf, stammers a denial, and then Zoom bolts out the door in a panic. Our boy watches in awe, realizing that even the high and mighty nobles bow to elves here. It's kind of a rush. Killian muses. Only a handful of legendary weapons could inflict damage like this. He promises justice will be served and turns to Oh-jin. "Thank you for shielding this little one. We'll take it from here." But Xionja has other plans. Crack. The cat shatters the magic barrier like glass, bolts forward, and buries itself in our boy's arms, terrified of letting go. The elves are stunned. A divine beast. Cuddling a human? Xionja clings tight to Oh-jin's necklace, trembling. Killian's eyes lock onto the pendant. Click. Recognition. He whispers to his squad. So the rumors were real. And this changes everything. Our boy sweats under the gaze. It gives him flashbacks to a professor eyeing him for a miserable grad school program. Even Selena is giving him a weird look. Finally, Killian makes a call. "Keep the cat. Protocol says I drag you both to headquarters for interrogation, he explains. But since Selena vouches for you, you're good. Selena just shrugs, looking totally over it. Our boy stares, wondering how she stays so chill through all this chaos. Killian weaves another spell, conjuring a delicate necklace. The charm settles around Xionya's neck, pulsing with a soft glow intended to jumpstart the creature's drained power. It's a stand-in for that missing horn. Xionya wiggles, clearly hating the new bling. Then, one of the elves drops some lore. This enchantment isn't just jewelry, it's a panic button. If the creature gets in trouble, they'll get an instant alert. Oh-jin is floored by the tech. It's basically a magical life alert. Then Killian pulls out a ring. He offers it to our guy like it's the crown jewels, explaining that it carries the full authority of the celestial family. Plus, it comes with top-tier defense stats. Oh-jin takes it, sweating a little honored, sure, but terrified of the strings attached. Killian flashes a warm smile and insists on putting it on him personally. It's super awkward, but Oh-jin rolls with it, while the elves whisper, hyped. They claim it fits him like a glove. He stares at the shiny band, wondering if he just signed a contract with Destiny without reading the fine print. Listen, Kim Oh-jin has been single since day one, and the first ring he ever wears is… this? The elven band glows with a vibe that screams sus. It's giving him major red flags. He tries to nope out of there, apologizing and trying to give it back. Killian looks totally lost, asking, why? Our boy breaks it down. He works with his hands. Flashy accessories are just going to get in the way. Killian counters. Think of it as armor, not jewelry, while secretly thinking Oh-jin is completely clueless. Moments pass, and Oh-jin stands his ground. He keeps insisting that hand accessories are a no-go for a doctor. Killian stops arguing. Instead, he whispers a quick incantation. The ring melts into pure light, morphing into a sick tattoo right on Oh-jin's finger. Okay, that's actually fire. Killian tells him to press the mark to his heart and say the family name. Oh-jin complies, and his finger lights up. Boom. A hologram of Killian pops up right in front of him. The elf explains it's basically magical, FaceTime, voice, and video included. Then he invites Oh-jin to say the word, light. Our boy repeats it, and a laser beam shoots from his fingertip. The elves are trying so hard not to laugh. He waves his hand around like a kid with a new toy, genuinely impressed. Killian cuts in to reassure him. There are hidden features to unlock later, but the main event is the shield spell baked into it. Oh-jin says thanks, but his brain is still buffering over how a metal ring turned into a high-tech tattoo. Selena watches with a smirk, remembering how hard he fought the ring, yet now he's totally vibing with it. Killian eyes the necklace Oh-jin is wearing. When Oh-jin drops the bomb that it's from a dragon, Killian's face changes. The elves are shook. Everyone knows dragons ghosted this world 1,000 years ago. Oh-jin nods, he heard the rumors too, but explains he healed a dragon's sick pet back in the day. As payment, the dragon gave him the necklace and a ride home. Instead, he got yeeted into this world by accident. Realizing these guys are magic pros, our boy shoots his shot. Can any of you send me back? Before he can even finish the sentence, the three elves go wide-eyed and drop to their knees. They start chanting to the spirit of healing, thanking the stars for the honor of meeting him. Oh-jin freezes. Wait, do they think he's a god? He starts waving his hands. No, you got the wrong guy. He's just a regular human victim of a dragon's GPS fail. And the pet? It wasn't even that sick, just neglected. But Killian ignores the details. The point is, he's wearing raw dragon power. Oh-jin grumbles that he only took it as travel compensation for getting kidnapped across dimensions. Killian grabs his hand, dead serious. He explains the world is on the brink. Mana, the battery of life, is dying. It's fading fast. Since the dragons dipped, the energy tanked, and the divine beasts vanished with it. The world is literally withering away. If this keeps up, the next generation is toast. To fight this, the big shots formed the Etherion Order, a squad dedicated to saving the mana. Their goal? Restore balance. Our boy zones out, thinking, so, a magical EPA? But Killian keeps going. He mentions an ancient legend about the spirit of healing, a savior wearing dragon power around their neck, who would rescue the world. Suddenly, every eye locks onto Oh-jin. He points at his own chest, like, me? Killian nods slowly. They've been waiting centuries for him. Our boy tries to explain one more time that this is a huge mix-up. Too late. The elves are already bowing down, swearing their lives to the spirit of healing. The Celestian Fesho family and the Etherion Order are fighting over who gets to bodyguard him. Oh-jin feels the pressure, crushing his chest, mind racing. He wants to scream BS, that the dragon who dumped him here was totally losing it. Inside, he's roasting the creature, wondering what kind of sick cosmic prank this is. Cut to the next morning. Divine drama fades into the 9-to-5 clinic grind. A client walks in clutching a flying fish. That's grounded. No lift. Oh-jin runs the diagnostics. Nutrition stats are green. Verdict: old age. The owner's face falls. She's desperate, asking for a hack, anything to get it airborne again. Oh-jin keeps it real. Aging is the one thing you can't cure. It's a wrap. She hesitates, then spills the tea. Her bedridden dad is obsessed with these things. He used to raise a whole school, but since he got sick, they dropped like flies. Now, only Lumi is left. It was her mom's proposal gift decades ago. Flashback. When Dad proposed, he released Lumi into the night, fins glowing like a legit star. Back in the day, flying fish were basically living lanterns, huge hits at every festival. Oh-jin thinks proposing with seafood is major cringe, but Selena clarifies it was peak romance back then. The owner gives a sad smile. Yeah, times changed. After her mom passed, her dad crashed hard, and now he's a hermit, pouring all his energy into this one fish. He dropped a bomb on her recently. If Lumi stops flying, he's checking out too. Oh-jin feels the heavy vibe, like the last leaf hanging on before a blizzard. Selena? Zero chill. Just go buy a fresh one. Oh-jin is floored by her lack of empathy. The owner tears up, begging Oh-jin to fix Lumi, to keep her dad from spiraling. But Oh-jin's stuck on repeat. Lumi is perfectly healthy. She's just a senior citizen. Magic can't rewind the clock. The owner isn't hearing it. Lumi needs to fly, or her dad dies. Even though Oh-jin explains it's biology, not a bug, he realizes just how dangerous these emotional bonds are. Even in a fantasy world, pet owners are dangerously attached. Some starve themselves when their pets get sick. Others want to be buried with them. It's toxic love. Suddenly, Killian crashes the scene, demanding a promise. Before Oh-jin can even process, fade to black, eyes snap open. Just a nightmare. Morning hits, and Oh-jin greets Pio, who instantly clocks the zombie bags under his eyes. She admits she pulled an all-nighter too. She assumes he's stressing over Lumi, the grounded fish. He denies it, but she drops a theory. Maybe the fish isn't old. Maybe it's running on empty mana starvation. She remembers flying fish glowing dimmer. As the world's mana levels tanked, less mana in the air meant no lift for the fish. It clicks for Oh-jin. It's literally climate change, but with magic. The ecosystem is crashing. He flashes back to the elf, calling him the destined savior. No pressure. Selena jumps in, confirming the theory. It's not just fish. Animals everywhere are fading. What looks like aging or mystery sickness is actually mana deficiency. Her proof? Monoceros. That dude used to be a lion. Oh-jin looks at Sionia, his tiny cat was a lion. He tries to picture a massive lion grooming itself like a house cat. Brain blast. He asks Pio, what sickness hits the fish guardians? She answers, brittle bones, easy fractures. Oh-jin pivots to Selena. What's the standard prescription? She rattles off bloomroot for bones, bloodroot for pain, plus some fillers. Side effects? Fatigue and numb nerves. Selena shrugs. Bingo. Oh-jin realizes that's the real problem. He needs a countermed. Selena says it exists, but it cancels the pain meds. Oh-jin doesn't care, he needs the recipe. Selena jerks a thumb behind her. The ingredient is the mandrake. He walks up. The mandrake makes a sour face. Oh-jin tries to be chill. Just need a few leaves, buddy. The plant lets out a scream so loud the whole squad, Selena, Pio, and Oh-jin, grabs their ears in pain. Then the scream turns into sobbing. Oh-jin is frustrated. Pio whispers, it feels neglected, because you've been obsessing over Sionia. Oh-jin admits he has zero plant skills. Just name it, Pio urges. He stalls, and the mandrake wails harder. Defeated, he blurts out, fine, you're Kim Mandel. The sobbing plant suddenly pulls a 180, grooving like it's at a rave. Oh-jin snags 2 leaves, totally weirded out by how clingy and affectionate the wildlife is in this dimension. Selena's lurking in the background, analyzing the vibe. Let me see that chain, she demands, snatching the necklace to run a quick inspection. Looks like standard jewelry to her. But the second she wears it and reaches for Zionja and Mandel, they hiss and snap total don't touch me energy. Okay, so it's biometric or something, Selena figures. It's locked to you. How do you even trigger the magic? Oh-jin shrugs. I just focus. My chest gets all tight, like a pressure buildup, and then whoosh, the energy dumps out. It's linked to your heartbeat, she realizes. Oh-jin adds, yeah, and when I touch it, these guys swarm me like I'm a walking all-you-can-eat buffet. He pops open a churu stick for Zionja, and the creature goes feral for the treat. That's when Selena spots it, the faint, ethereal glow. Her eyes widen. He isn't just giving them snacks. He's unconsciously funneling his own mana straight into their systems. Massive red flag. That kind of soul link isn't just rare, it's a death sentence if he's not careful. Meanwhile, the scene cuts. Pio bursts in, holding a fresh brew. Mash the leaves? Boss, the potion is live. Want me to whip up another batch? Do it. Oh-jin nods. Selena stays quiet, watching him from the shadows. The weird aura, the way nature bends to his will, the way the world literally simps for his presence, it's unnatural. For the first time, she thinks, Is this guy actually the legendary spirit of healing? Smash cut to L'Oreal's mansion. She walks into her dad's room with his daily dose, only to drop everything in panic. He's sprawled on the floor. She scrambles to lift him, realizing he tried to stand just to get Lumi closer to the window view. I'm fine, he wheezes, despite looking like he might shatter. L'Oreal is frantic. His bones are practically glass right now. One bad fall could end it, she cries. But he just smiles sadly. My timer is running out regardless, sweetheart. She argues that he can still get better, but he shakes his head. Death doesn't just come from sickness, he murmurs. It comes when you give up hope. That breaks her. Tears start streaming as she begs him to quit the doom talk, but the old man just won't back down. Just then, Oh-jin crashes the party with Selena, Pio, and the whole squad, totally shattering the heavy mood. He drops a massive truth bomb. People don't just drop dead from fate. They die because of bad intel, sketchy prescriptions, and zero self-care. Laurel and her dad almost jump out of their skin at the sudden invasion. Our boy steps up and sets the record straight. Lumi isn't grounded because of old age. She's suffering side effects from the dad's own meds. The old man looks totally lost, insisting he's the one popping the pills, not his pet fish. But Oh-jin breaks it down. Flying fish never lose those aquatic grooming instincts. They instinctively clean the ones they love. While Lumi was meticulously grooming her owner's hair and beard, she was soaking up toxic residue right through her skin. It clicks for Laurel. She remembers all those nights Lumi spent nestled against her dad, literally brushing against poison. The truth hits the old man like a truck. He grumbles that explains why his beard was always weirdly glossy. Oh-jin nods and whips out the syringes, revealing the custom cure he cooked up in the lab. He promises the fish will be back to full power in 48 hours, prompting the dad to joke he'll shave himself bald to stop this from happening again. Time to operate. Our boy gets to work, grabbing each fish with steady hands. Pio wrestles them still so Oh-jin can administer the shot. Once they're done, Oh-jin smirks. This stuff works fast. Almost instantly, Lumi twitches, then shoots into the air, glowing with a faint aura as she glides toward her owner. The dad stares, terrified it's a hallucination. Then, it's a chain reaction. Every fish starts glowing neon blue and lifting off, turning the room into a shimmering ocean of light. Laurel and her father watch, mesmerized. The dad is instantly transported back to the day he proposed to her mom, surrounded by soaring, glowing fish, just like this. Cradling Lumi in his hands, the old man is completely overcome with emotion. Pio watches from the shadows, realizing the glow isn't just the cure, it's a reaction to Oh-jin's blood and mana. This guy is not normal. Selena connects the dots too, wondering if Oh-jin is actually the legendary figure from the prophecy, the spirit of healing. Later, Selena links up with Killian to break down the situation. Killian is convinced. He claims Oh-jin's bond with the Monaceros is the smoking gun that proves the prophecy is real. But Selena hesitates, questioning why Killian let our boy keep a ring that doesn't belong to him. Killian waves it off, insisting the original owner would have given Oh-jin the thumbs up anyway. He reveals the bigger play. Rumors of the spirit of healing will go viral, baiting the hidden villains out of the shadows. It clicks for Selena. That is why they let Baron Doyle walk. He is just bait to expose the real puppet masters. Killian promises Oh-jin is safe, noting it is no accident. Selena crossed paths with him in this specific village. Selena thinks back to her first encounter with our boy, remembering how he casually took down a giant rabbit while rocking that mysterious necklace. She admits he is built different, but she is still not sold on him being the Messiah figure. Killian tells her to stay sharp, reminding her the prophecy isn't just about saving the world, it warns about the hell they have to go through first. Cut to a quiet morning at the clinic. A blob called the bloop is vibing on a leaf again. Our boy spots it and gets annoyed that thing was discharged a week ago. Why is it squatting in his office? Turns out, Selena is babying the creature. She claims she is just looking after one of the 3 bloops, but she is handling it way too roughly, forcing our boy to intervene. He drops some lore. Bloops come in 2 flavors: core types with a brain in their head, and non-core types that multiply like crazy. Core types are stable, but the one Selena is messing with has no core. Stress it out, and it clones itself instantly. Selena confirms it is super sensitive to pressure. Oh-jin starts sweating bullets. He knows the risks. If these things multiply unchecked, they can wipe out entire villages. It has happened before. Keeping a ticking biological time bomb next to volatile monsters like the Mandrake and Sionia feels totally reckless. He realizes Selena didn't even ask the owner. She just grabbed the creature herself, pretending it was cooperation. Pio watches the tension rise and suggests maybe they should back off before things get messy. Suddenly, Oh-jin remembers a dark fact. Elves cover their ears to hide criminal brands burned into their skin. It starts adding up. Selena's aggressive vibe, her dodging questions, her recklessness. It screams fugitive. Oh-jin seriously considers kicking her to the curb right then and there. But the clinic is slammed, and he needs the extra hands, so he decides to let it slide for now. Before he can spiral, Selena calls out that they are open for business. Meanwhile, trouble brews at Baron Doyle's castle. The Baron is sweating bullets over a glowing monocrystal call. On the other end, a shadowy figure demanding to know why the Etherion Order just crashed the party at Oh-jin's clinic. The Baron stammers, explaining they kicked down the door, started raving about a divine beast, ruined his operation, and then just dipped. Shadow Guy loses it, accusing the Baron of fumbling the bag and letting the Order swipe the Monoceros. The Baron is pleading for a second chance, swearing he'll fix it. Then he drops the bomb. He doesn't need to steal the beast because it's already chilling with Kim Oh-jin. The boss is shook. Everyone knows a Monoceros usually attacks humans on sight, but the Baron doubles down. The beast is literally following Oh-jin like a puppy. Shadow Guy snaps, ordering a total cover-up. Everyone who saw anything needs to be silenced. He calls the Baron a useless amateur and cuts the feed, leaving the Baron seething. Still reeling from the verbal beatdown, he barks at his butler to drag Theodore and Alex back in. Doesn't matter that they're on vacation. The butler nervously reminds him the duo is on PTO because they were whining about burnout. The Baron explodes vacation over. He demands they return immediately. This mess is spiraling out of control. Meanwhile, down at the marketplace, the tea is piping hot. Rumors about the Etherion Order are spreading faster than a viral tweet. Locals are freaking out, claiming they saw the legendary squad in real life, and wondering why the holy big shots would visit a rundown clinic in the boonies. The word on the street is they were hunting a rare divine species. The theories are getting wild. Some folks are convinced Oh-jin isn't just a vet, but an otherworldly traveler with main character energy. Others swear they saw him body slam a mana beast and tame a divine creature with his bare hands. The guy is built different. Truth and hype are blending together until the whole town is buzzing. But as the sun sets, the gossip takes a weird turn. People start branding Oh-jin as the spirit of healing, a figure from ancient lore that was definitely supposed to be a waifu, not a husbando. But now the script has flipped. They claim the spirit is a dude, and whoever gets on his good side is basically destined to rule the world. A stunner with long pink hair is breaking down the rumors with her brunette friend. She muses that this gender swap twist changes the whole prophecy game. Meanwhile, over in the bougie district of Montval, Adrian rolls up to his high-end clinic, expecting the usual VIP rush, but the place is a ghost town. It's dead silent. His butler breaks the bad news. 0 clients since breakfast. Adrian immediately suspects Count Downey is pulling strings to sabotage him. He swears he'll clap back hard. But then his assistant whispers, the real issue everyone's checking out, that new spot in Belmore, Oh-jin's clinic. Adrian laughs it off, totally convinced that high-class nobles wouldn't be caught dead at a peasant's shop. But his confidence crumbles instantly when the bombshell drops. Lady Marianne canceled her appointment to go see Oh-jin instead. That reality hits him like a truck, and the rage takes over. He slams his fist on the mahogany desk and demands his carriage. He's about to pull up on the guy responsible for this disrespect. Adrian is the ultimate Nepo baby born rich, genius IQ, insane talent, and a face card that never declines. So, everyone thought it was weird when he decided to become a vet. But his reason was simple. He had a soft spot for people who were obsessed with their pets. He'd turn on the charm, reassuring panicked owners that their fur babies would be just fine, loving the ego boost from playing hero. Adrian was strict about keeping business and pleasure separate, except for one person, Lady Marianne Astrid. The second she walked through his doors, he was a goner. He convinced himself the universe made him a vet, just so he could treat her unicorn. But that fantasy turned into bitter jealousy the moment he found out she picked some random commoner to treat Lulu. Furious, he shuts down his clinic early and speeds off to the Astrid estate. At the mansion, Marianne's mom greets him with a fake smile and zero interest, asking why he's crashing their place uninvited. Adrian tries to play it cool, acting concerned for Lulu. He implies that letting some random nobody touch a sensitive unicorn is totally irresponsible, but the mom cuts him off with a smirk. Kim Oh-jin isn't a random guy, she is a woman. That stops Adrian in his tracks. The mom adds that despite being a commoner, this Oh-jin girl has god-tier skills, and is so drop-dead gorgeous people call her a fairy. This throws Adrian off, and his brain starts spiraling. What kind of woman gets compared to a fairy? Is she a blonde bombshell or a mysterious goth beauty? His daydream crashes when the mom laughs. She just made that whole story up to see how he'd react, and snaps her fingers for security to toss him out. Humiliated, Adrian tries to argue he's not some woman-obsessed creep, just loyal to Lady Marianne. The mom finds that hilarious as the servants drag him out the door. Back in his carriage, Adrian is fuming. He's done playing games, he's going to meet this Kim Oh-jin face to face. He thinks he's the unicorn whisperer. He knows beasts judge by scent, and they absolutely hate the stench of blood and sweat. And let's be real, unicorns can be super aggressive toward men, but they love cleanliness and fancy scents. So Adrian figured his obsession with grooming made him the perfect candidate. He recalled all the sweat and tears it took to earn a unicorn's trust, developing this whole strategy of bathing twice a day and rocking the exact same perfume as their owner. It worked like a charm. Right after that, he bet everything that some scruffy, clueless commoner would reek enough to trigger Lulu's rage mode. That would be his cue to swoop in, like a total hero, saving the day right in front of Marianne. Just imagining the glory made him blush and giggle to himself, completely oblivious to his coachman, giving him the side eye from the front seat. When Adrian's carriage rolled up to Belmore, a massive crowd was already swarming the clinic, buzzing with excitement over the rare unicorn sighting. Adrian grabbed the popcorn, ready to watch our boy crash and burn in spectacular fashion. But that confidence shattered instantly when he saw our boy just chilling on Lulu's back. The unicorn looked totally zen. The crowd lost their minds, and even Marianne had to admit, she had never seen Lulu let anyone else ride her like that. Adrian froze, his brain refusing to process the scene. He started coping hard. It had to be a trick, probably some dark magic from that elf woman standing next to Oh-jin. But that theory died instantly when Lulu suddenly snapped and bit the elf's arm, leaving her stunned into silence. Oh-jin immediately jumped into action, treating the injury and clearing out the spectators, while hushed whispers spread through the crowd. Refusing to leave with his tail between his legs, Adrian decided to go full spy mode. He spotted an open window and scaled a nearby tree, channeling his inner varsity climbing champ from the academy days. Peeking through the window, he watched our boy treat the elf's bite, calmly applying herbs, and wrapping it with a technique Adrian had never seen before. But then, Adrian squinted. There was a strange crest glowing faintly on Oh-jin's hand. His jaw hit the floor as he recognized it, the symbol of House Celestian, literally the most elite elven family in existence. He stared blankly, realizing this commoner vet was rocking the mark of the highest elven bloodline. Inside, Oh-jin notices a faint mark on Selena's hand while bandaging it up, and quickly realizes the situation is way more serious. What looked like a minor scratch is actually laced with poison from the creature's saliva. He tells them straight up, they dodged a bullet. Selena thinks back to the creature's earlier outburst, noting that it showed way too much hostility, which is super rare for its species. Marianne apologizes for the drama and insists on footing the medical bill, but our boy shuts it down, admitting they let their guard down. When Marianne points at Selena and asks if she's part of the clinic staff, Oh-jin explains she's the assistant doctor, handling the prescriptions and all the heavy lifting around the place. Marianne nods, acknowledging the setup, then throws a little shade saying the clinic looks tiny. For a vet with his reputation, that comment sends our boy into a war flashback of his old office. Right after that, he remembers the cramped, noisy nightmare with a clogged toilet, busted heating, and non-stop whining about animals. Before he can spiral, Marianne interrupts, sympathizing with his past grind, and hyping up his achievements. She gets all flustered, and suddenly drops a bombshell suggestion. Her family could sponsor a massive upgrade for the clinic, leaving our boy totally confused if this is a business deal, or if she's making a move. Before the tension can settle, Lulu suddenly snaps and lunges at Pio, throwing the room into total chaos. Both Marianne and our boy scramble to restrain them, while Selena points out that unicorns, despite looking like monoceros, usually vibe well with smaller creatures. Marianne gets offended instantly at the implication that Lulu is the problem, and suddenly she and Selena are trading verbal jabs. Accusations fly about manners, bribed reservations, and rich kid entitlement. Pio grumbles that nobles are built different, earning a death stare from Marianne. As things heat up, Lulu starts thrashing wildly, slamming into a bookshelf and knocking it over. Suddenly, crash, the window shatters and Adrian comes flying through, face planting on the floor hard. Everyone freezes as Selena catches the falling bookshelf mid-air like a superhero. They just stare in disbelief, wondering if the intruder is even breathing. Adrian lifts his head bloodied but grinning, and greets Marianne with exaggerated relief. While Marianne is shook to her core, Pio yells, demanding to know who this guy is. Adrian stands up and introduces himself grandly. As Adrian Heavencrown kisses Pio's hand and gives a speech about protecting all beautiful life, Oh-jin watches, disgusted by the theatrical entrance, thinking this guy acts like a clout-chasing influencer. When asked why he smashed through a window, Adrian gets indignant, insisting he is Lulu's primary physician and accusing our boy of mistreating her. The accusation turns into a screaming match instantly. Oh-jin insists Lulu is fine, while Adrian calls him a fraud and even brands him a scheming bastard. Totally confused, Oh-jin turns to Selena for an explanation. She breaks it down. It's basically an insult for a toxic player, the kind who baits people like a Venus flytrap. The realization hits our boy way too late, leaving him absolutely shook. Marianne steps in, roasting Adrian for his trash talk. But Adrian doesn't let up, grilling Oh-jin about his dating history. Right in the middle of this interrogation, Adrian spots a mark on Oh-jin's hand and throws shade, accusing him of having secret noble ties or something way sketchier. Pio loses it and yells that it's gotta be an engagement ring. The whole squad stares at our boy in shock. Panicked, he stammers that it was a gift from some guy named Killian, which honestly just makes the vibe weirder. But before the questions can fly, Lulu starts shaking like crazy, cold sweat slicking her coat. A split second later, she crashes to the ground. The team scrambles. Oh-jin is on it instantly, checking her vitals. Pupils are good, breathing is heavy, but she's stable. He barks at Pio to grab a candle and a stethoscope, his brain already solving the puzzle. Adrian watches the scene, then drops a truth bomb. Lulu isn't sick, she's pregnant. He gives her a once-over, and confirms she's definitely expecting. Marianne is in total denial, refusing to buy what he's selling, swearing the unicorn has been on total lockdown in the castle greenhouse. No way this is happening. Selena backs Adrian up, pointing out Lulu's recent mood swings and how paranoid she's been acting. Classic baby mama drama. Oh-jin whips out a device to listen inside the body. Marianne follows his lead and, through the earpieces, catches Lulu's rhythm, then hears a second, tiny flutter echoing from her belly. The shock is too much. She faints dead away, Adrian barely catching her. Meanwhile, our boy casually introduces the gadget as a stethoscope. Adrian is low-key blown away by the tech, impressed by how it amplifies even the quietest noises. Teaming up, Adrian and Oh-jin estimate Lulu is about 4 months deep. Marianne wakes up and immediately rejects reality again, insisting Lulu hasn't stepped a hoof outside the greenhouse. That just makes the mystery juicier, since the unicorn was under house arrest, prepping for an arranged marriage with Prince Theo's elite stallion, Shark. But despite the security, the baby bump doesn't lie. Lulu gets rushed to a makeshift ICU, where Oh-jin hooks her up with fluids and electrolytes, via IV, to fight off the dehydration from all that morning sickness. The squad watches, mesmerized, stunned by how the medicine goes straight into the blood, skipping the stomach entirely. A heavy silence falls, as Marianne tries to wrap her head around the mess. Selena cuts the tension, figuring the date with the prince's horse. Would have flopped anyway. Unicorns are picky daters, most stay single forever, unless they find the one. Once in a blue moon, a power couple produces a legendary hybrid, shining like pure gold. Adrian pitches sending Lulu to the palace as a royal flex, to break the news to His Highness personally, betting the prince would be hyped about such a rare beast. Selena shuts that down real quick. She reminds them hybrid unicorns are basically urban legends, and they still don't know who the baby daddy is. Adrian lists the elite stallions in Lady Marianne's stable, suspecting an inside job. Siegfried the speed demon, Tara the tank, Dolly, the charmer, and Black Thunder the muscle. Marianne finally admits they need to find the father before making any moves. Adrian offers to play detective, but Marianne turns to Oh-jin, hoping his medical genius can solve the riddle. He shuts it down, stethoscopes can't. Do paternity tests. Adrian steps back in, pointing out that Oh-jin's gut instincts and care for Lulu make him the best man for the job. Selena chimes in, the answer might be right under their noses, because pregnant unicorns usually freak out when away from their boo, but Lulu was chill the whole trip. Connecting the dots, Marianne realizes Lulu only started tweaking after they arrived. The clue is in the destination. Over at the stable, Joseph is grooming a scruffy mongrel horse, oblivious to the drama. When Lulu spots the colt, she loses it. She bolts toward him, snuggling up like they're long-lost lovers. Everyone's jaw drops. Marianne looks like she's gonna be sick. A royal unicorn. Shacking up with a basic mixed breed? Our boy whispers that it looks like a soap opera, where the rich mom hates the bad boy boyfriend. Adrian watches the PDA and confirms that against all odds, it's true love. Marianne argues the colt is just a kid, but Oh-jin shrugs, the heart wants what it wants. And that tearing them apart is basically a death sentence for both the mother and the unborn foal. The cold, hard facts leave Marianne completely tongue-tied. Her mind spins, struggling to process the glitch in her reality. A unicorn, the ultimate icon of purity and grace, is hopelessly down bad for a basic, run-of-the-mill stable horse. Once the scandalous truth about Lulu and her beau drops, Marianne's father corners Joseph. He tears into the young man, calling it absolute insanity to let a filthy carriage horse anywhere near a divine unicorn. Joseph pleads ignorance, swearing he had zero clue about the forbidden romance. But the Count isn't buying it, accusing him of running a scam to cash in on the situation. He shuts down every excuse, completely deaf to Joseph's desperate denials. He barks an order to throw both Joseph and the horse behind bars, promising that real punishment is on the docket. The maids start murmuring in the shadows, agreeing that the Count is way out of line. Joseph's innocent, right? Then the tea spills. They point out that you literally cannot police animal attraction. The gossip shifts to the bigger picture. Why was Lulu slated for a one-way trip to the royal palace in the first place? It clicks for some of them. She was totally a bribe for the upcoming crown princess election at the end of the year. Meanwhile, they drag Marianne into the convo, noting how Lulu could have been living that high-end royal life if the plan hadn't gone off the rails. But nope, she ended up slumming it with a carriage horse. One maid throws shade, whispering that Lulu probably takes after her owner, a subtle burn implying plenty of folks don't really know the real young lady Marianne. Just then, another maid hisses at them to zip it. Suddenly, chaos erupts. A maid bursts in with terrifying news. Lulu is crashing fast. She is hacking up blood. Marianne sprints to Lulu's side, demanding a status update. The maid explains the poor creature hasn't touched food due to severe morning sickness, and now she is purging blood. Selena's warning flashes in her mind. Pregnant unicorns get dangerously stressed when ripped away from their mates. Lulu is literally heartbroken, and her body is shutting down. The maid warns that if this keeps up, it is going to be fatal. Desperate, Marianne demands an ETA on Ogden, but the maid shakes her head, saying they sent an SOS this morning, but he is stuck miles away. Gritting her teeth with new resolve, Marianne decides to hunt down a local vet and commands them to bring the carriage horse immediately. The handler drags the animal along, urging it to pick up the pace, while the maids gag and complain about the stench. They snark that jail is no excuse for being filthy. He should have been scrubbed down before getting anywhere near the young lady. The handler insists it is a code red emergency. Marianne snaps, silencing the chatter, and orders the horse inside. The second Lulu locks eyes with him, she bolts forward, pressing her body against his in pure relief. Marianne calls for warm water, declaring she will groom him herself. The maids gasp, clutching their pearls, but she tunes out the drama and orders soup for the unicorn. She starts wiping the grime off the horse with a warm towel, realizing he is just a gentle soul. It hits close to home, triggering memories of how her own parents once nuked her relationship with a merchant's son. She muses that Lulu could have had the VIP lifestyle, draped in jewels, but wonders if this raw, simple love is what Lulu actually craves. Right on cue, our boy bursts onto the scene. He stabilizes Lulu, explaining that while animals have types, they don't do social climbing. Lulu doesn't see herself as a queen above a peasant horse. He hooks Lulu up to an IV and assures Marianne that simply vibing with her soulmate is all the happiness she needs. A bit later, as he administers the meds, he warns that this is just a band-aid, not a cure. The only real fix is letting the lovebirds stay together. Marianne quietly nods. Our boy packs up, saying he has got to bounce back to the clinic, where a line of patients and his assistant are waiting. Even though he secretly low-key doubts she actually cares, Marianne assures him she gets the picture and will handle the aftercare. As they look up, they spot Adrian awkwardly hugging a tree branch, looking totally uncoordinated, trying to get down. He finally flops to the ground, apologizing for being rude, but our boy claps back, calling his climbing skills a literal crime. Adrian insists he was just scaling the tree to check on Lulu and planned to dip right after. Marianne reminds him he should have just asked the staff. Adrian claims he tried but got blocked at the door. Spotting the gadget in Adrian's pouch, Ogden IDs it as a stethoscope and roasts him for how cheap it looks. Adrian, blushing, admits it is still in beta mode. Our boy drops some wisdom, get real gear if you want to be a doc, then heads out to tackle his insane schedule. Adrian watches him leave, thinking Ogden is actually a solid dude. Meanwhile, our boy is thinking the exact opposite, marking Adrian down as a total weirdo. That evening, Lulu finally starts grazing on her own and regaining strength, taking a huge weight off Marianne's shoulders. Adrian comments that love and vibes are the ultimate cure, and gives her props for getting her hands dirty to help. Marianne reflects that her own stubborn ego caused this mess, admitting she should have played matchmaker way sooner. She realizes she might have been jealous of her unicorn, remembering a time when she was just as innocent as Lulu. Over time, she got addicted to the high life, judging everyone by their bank accounts. Adrian shrugs it off, claiming all nobles are built that way. But Marianne starts having flashbacks to her first love back when clout didn't matter, and she only cared about the sparkle in his eyes. She fumbled that relationship for mutual happiness, and now asks the room if she's actually happy or just faking it. Adrian hits her with a reality check. First loves always crash and burn, and that trauma blocks you from seeing the real ones right in front of you. He hints that her soulmate is basically in the room. Marianne looks dazed, finally realizing she's been sleeping on something major, and drops a bombshell she's quitting the princess selection. Adrian thinks it's go time, and secretly palms a ring box. Sensing the vibe shift, he feels this is his main character moment, slides the box over, and clears his throat to confess. But plot twist, she declares she's gonna shoot her shot with Oh-jin. Adrian glitches out, ears ringing, praying he heard that wrong, and asks her to repeat that madness. Marianne doubles down, saying she'd rather be the boss herself than marry a guy who already has the power. Leaving Adrian paralyzed, she wraps up the chat, thanking him for the therapy session, and hitting him with the Let's Be Friends card. Adrian is absolutely wrecked and swears eternal vengeance on Oh-jin. Cut to the clinic, Oh-jin sneezes right as Pio reads a memo. Kyo is getting hired as Lulu's +1, and they want Oh-jin as the VIP doctor. The offer includes 10 times the usual pay, serious cash on the table, but our boy says pass. He explains he's too booked and busy at the hospital to chase the bag elsewhere. Pio groans that this plaque is stubborn as hell after an hour of scrubbing. Oh-jin checks the patient, a snake getting a deep clean, spots the buildup, and orders a saline blast plus some anti-inflammatory prep. While he's in the zone, he finds debris jammed in the gums and yanks out a foreign object. The owner starts freaking out with joy, revealing that this pet, Shamir, is a legendary beast gifted by the late king, a total family flex, and it just coughed up their missing heirloom. Our boy is unbothered, noting there's still tartar and some teeth gotta go, estimating another 1 or 2 hours. Selena corrects him, make it 5 hours. This beast has a second head. Surprise, Oh-jin looks ready to cry. The owner tries to hype him up, whipping out a fan art painting of Oh-jin and Shamir. The owner explains, it's an official masterpiece by their artist, and asks if Oh-jin digs it. Oh-jin thinks it's hideous and wants to decline, but the artist is pushy, promising to finish it soon because he's finally found a muse. Mid-conversation, Shamir's eyes snap open. Selena clocks it instantly. Oh-jin tenses up, did they skimp on the tranquilizers? Selena preps a shield spell, fast, but Adrian dives out of nowhere, blocking her. The spell smacks him instead of the monster. Selena's confused. Wait, isn't that the noble doctor? Why is he even here? No time to think. Shamir unhinges its jaw, swallows Adrian whole, and gulps him down. The room goes dead silent. Everyone is rebooting their brains. Did a dude just get eaten? Meanwhile, the clinic is officially closed, but the line outside is massive. People are salty, complaining they traveled miles for the miracle doctor, while others debate hitting up the rival hospital. And there's Adrian, watching from the shadows, simmering with rage. He can't stand Oh-jin breaking hearts while playing the spirit of healing. He flashes back to a chat with his aide. The aide described the spirit of healing as a god-tier entity that grants world domination. Adrian laughed it off, thinking Marianne was gullible for buying into that mythology, and believing he was way more spirit-like than Oh-jin could ever be. His mind drifts back to the stories Oh-jin fixing a flying fish, turning a demon into a house cat. Legit miracles. The stethoscope around his neck, a gift from our boy, feels heavy. He remembers Oh-jin asking if he still kept it. Adrian played it cool, acting like he didn't care, asking if there was a spare. The aide confirmed it. Now, perched in a tree with binoculars, Adrian claims he's just here to return the gear, but we know he's obsessing. Below, our boy is treating a hydra, 2 heads bobbing weakly as he scrapes gum gunk, rinses, and medicates. Adrian watches, and against his will, he's actually impressed, realizing our boy's skills are light years ahead of his own, even though Adrian was the valedictorian at the academy. Suddenly, the hydra's tail twitches. The anesthesia is wearing off. Adrian sees the danger before anyone else. As the creature lunges at Selena, he sprints to play hero, and chomp. The hydra eats him in one bite. The crowd gasps. Oh-jin freezes, processing the chaos while the owner starts screaming. Selena realizes Adrian is currently digestion-bound and preps a spell, but our boy shuts it down. Zoom in. The hydra's tongue has gone completely purple, airway obstructed. It choked on something massive. Muscle memory kicks in. Owen and Selena sync up instantly. On his signal, she delivers a calculated, heavy strike. It's a monster-sized Heimlich. The beast spasms, and with one final blow, Adrian gets launched out like a cannonball. The hydra gasps, lungs refilling. The crowd goes wild, hyping our boy's god-tier medical skills. Owen barks orders. Check the victim. Selena confirms Adrian is breathing, but the guy is out cold. Thanks to that twin magic link, Owen notices Shamir's vitals leveled out the second the hydra stabilized. The impact left some nasty bruising on the scales. Selena slaps on some ointment and schedules a dressing change for later. Our boy turns to the owners. Real talk time. If your pet eats something it shouldn't, that's 100% on you. They swallow the hard truth, swearing to do better. They even nervously joke about banning human snacks from the diet. A few days later, a package arrives from the Baron. A painting dubbed The Great Rescue Operation. Owen calls it cringe, but it gets worse. They actually commissioned a statue of him pulling Adrian from the beast's maw. Total insanity. The world's lost the plot. Meanwhile, Adrian's snoozing through the drama. Pio and Selena are on vigil duty. Finally, Adrian's eyes flutter open. Total confusion. Who? What? Where? Flashbacks hit him hard. Spying on the clinic, the snake snapping, diving in to save Selena. Then, darkness. Being gulped down whole. He remembers thinking, ironic way for a vegetarian to go. Even considered his next life, maybe coming back as a unicorn with a hot heroine wouldn't suck. Then, agony spikes. Is this birth pain? He begs for it to stop, hacks up a lung, and the coughing drags him back to reality. Selena's hovering. You're awake. Adrian's head is spinning. Is she his owner in this new life? She pushes him back down. Chill. The magic residue is gonna make you dizzy. Nausea incoming. He needs a 72-hour detox. Adrian nods weakly. Then, our boy walks in with a steaming brew. Sit up, drink this. No room for argument. It's a recovery cocktail, bottoms up. Adrian chugs it. Owen mentions a secret ingredient, Mandel leaves. He drops the news. Astrid Manor knows he's here. Crash here for a few days, Owen offers. Adrian tries to decline, not wanting to be a burden, but our boy shuts him down. Doctor's orders, health over pride. Adrian is genuinely touched. Owen steps out to let him rest. Adrian watches the door close, feeling a wave of respect. This guy is legit. Adrian feels embarrassed about his past jealousy, vowing to be a better man, until he spots a paper on the nightstand. Invoice. Loading fee, 500 silver. Meal fee, 100 silver. The grand total reads 66.8 to 6 silver. Adrian stares at the numbers and curses Owen under his breath. Cut to the lobby. A couple is freaking out. Is our fox swapping genders? Owen sighs. It's a metaphor, guys. We're talking neutering. The couple gasps, calling it barbaric. Owen keeps his cool. He hits them with facts. The fox is drained. Raising kits is brutal work, and energy is dropping. The female is wrecked from overbreeding. Got a better idea? He challenges. But she's so young, they whine. Owen asks if they want to calculate the population explosion in 5 years, or if they're secretly running a puppy mill. They deny it, but pivot to emotions. What about her joy? Her pleasure? Our boys heard this script a million times. Constant mating isn't fun. It's rapid aging. It kills their lifespan and ruins their vibe. Faced with logic, the couple crumbles. Pio handles the booking. Our boy is low-key annoyed he almost had to do the admin work himself. He's over it, repeating the same advice is exhausting. Pio interrupts his mood. VIP client incoming, my childhood friend. Be nice. Owen promises to behave. A girl walks in, cradling a massive chicken. Checkup time. Owen scans the bird, feathers gleaming. This bird is radiating health. Pio chimes in. That's Pop, the alpha of the flock. The girl beams. 20 minutes of diagnostics later, Owen gives the verdict. This champ is fit for the prime chicken contest. But the owner isn't sold. He looks skinny, she mumbles. Owen checks the stats, false alarm. She pivots. He had a seizure while sleeping. Our boy shakes his head, likely just dreaming. She presses on, but his throat was sore. Flashback to the scare, Pio is doing damage control, assuring Tia that infection anxiety is totally normal. But after a rigorous scan, Oh-jin gives the all clear, finally letting her breathe easy. But the peace is short-lived. Pio bursts in, panic written all over his face. Pop is MIA. Tia claims she made a quick pit stop at the restroom before heading out, and poof, Pop vanished into thin air. Oh-jin immediately goes into lockdown mode, ordering every exit and window sealed tight. Selena commands the waiting room crowd to freeze, announcing a missing animal emergency. The patients start grumbling, complaining that their fur babies get super antsy if they're cooped up too long. Sonia steps in to de-escalate as the pets start acting out. The squad tears the place apart, but Pop is nowhere to be found. Oh-jin switches tactics, asking if the bird has any specific likes or triggers. Tia plays dumb, suggesting maybe Pop already slipped out. But our boy isn't buying it. That bird can't work doorknobs or parkour through windows. He has to be in the building. Pio suddenly snaps his fingers. Pop is obsessed with men. Our boy notes that some critters are drawn to those deep, baritone vocals. Tia confirms Pop's thirst for guys is actually next-level extreme. And then, it clicks for our boy. That explains why the bird was practically glued to him during the exam. Sonia realizes there's only one spot unchecked, a room where a certain guy is catching some Z's. They sprint over and find the bird, wrapping Adrian in a massive bear hug. The whole room freezes. Oh-jin shoots a glare at Tia, demanding the truth. He corners her, asking why she intentionally abandoned Pop. He sensed the vibes were off from the jump. In his veteran career, he's seen every type of pet parent, but never a guardian who looks bummed out to hear their pet has a clean bill of health. He points out that a chicken, no matter how speedy, is way too flashy and bulky to just vanish, and definitely too noticeable to slip past security without help. He demands she spill the tea. Tia breaks, confessing she staged it because the Baroness would never believe a nobody, like her. But if a heavyweight like Oh-jin declared Pop was sick and MIA, that's a story she'd buy. Our boy cuts in, asking who would even swallow such a wild lie. Tia drops the bomb, the Baroness. Terror creeps into her voice, as she begs Oh-jin to save her skin. If the Baroness finds out Pop is healthy, he's going to be hunted down. A massive hunting tournament is coming up, hosted by the Baroness's estate, paired with a banquet for a VIP guest, rumored to be none other than Prince Theo. The Baroness is prepping the menu, and she wants Pop as the main course. The room goes dead silent. Pio loses it, screaming about how twisted it is to eat someone's pet. especially since the Baroness already has a flock of those massive fire chickens. Tia reveals the dark truth. That entire flock got wiped out last year by a contagion. Oh-jin argues there have to be other options, but the Baroness is fixated on Pop. Tia explains those big fire chickens are legendary for their vitality and fertility, beasts famous for popping out eggs like crazy. Desperate dynasties crave that meat, believing one bite is a supernatural cheat code for a stronger bloodline. Our boy lets out a bitter laugh, noting how people everywhere are obsessed with stealing someone else's blessings through superstition. Tia says the Baroness has been eyeing Pop for ages and is now threatening to evict them from their farm if they don't comply. Pio, fuming, shouts that holding someone's livelihood hostage to murder their pet is straight-up evil. Tia begs again, imploring Oh-jin to forge a diagnosis, to label Pop as a walking biohazard, so no one would dare eat him. But our boy shuts it down. The room gets heavy. He explains that the second a doctor fakes a chart, they stop being a healer and start being a con artist playing God. Cross that line, and your medical opinion becomes trash. Adrian suddenly interrupts, furious, accusing him of putting a code of ethics over an actual life. To him, a doctor's job is to save the patient, not worship the rulebook. Oh-jin stands his ground, breaking it down. If he lies and tags Pop with a deadly plague, the animal gets branded as patient zero, the barn gets quarantined, and every innocent creature in there could be culled. If the truth leaks later, the family could face criminal charges, or become the scapegoats for future outbreaks. He declares a doctor exists to save lives, but not by endangering hundreds, just to save one. If you can't grasp that math, you don't deserve the white coat. Tia hangs her head, whispering a broken apology. Outside, Tia completely falls apart. Pio tries to comfort her, insisting there has to be a workaround. Tia is drowning in despair, feeling powerless against the nobility, and thinks about making a run for it with Pop. That's when our boy steps up. He tells her to hold her ground, no running. He can't fix this as a doctor, but as a fellow pet lover, he's got this. Tia and Pio look up, hope sparking in their eyes as he lays out the scheme. Moments later, Oh-jin instructs Tia to plant a specific rumor at the Baroness's estate, and without even turning around, he calls out the eavesdroppers lurking in the shadows. He orders them to show themselves, specifically drafting Adrian for a critical role. Cut to the Clay Mansion, the rumor mill is spinning out of control. Guests are buzzing that Duke Astrid's daughter, Lady Marianne, has officially dropped out of the race for Prince Consort, despite being a top-tier contender. The Baroness is practically glowing with satisfaction, convinced this is her daughter's golden ticket to the top. She's already visualizing the scene, her daughter landing the prince, the ultimate clapback against every snobby noble who ever threw shade their way. Immediately following that fantasy, she decides the upcoming banquet isn't just a dinner, it's the battlefield where she secures the bag and her legacy. But her scheming hits a wall when Adrian struts into the entrance. The Baroness freezes, totally shook by his sudden arrival, and mesmerized by his main character energy. As he approaches with effortless swagger, he asks for a private chat. Sitting at the table, the Baroness is caught lacking, able only to stare and wonder who this god-tier stranger actually is. The Baroness, now seated next to Adrian, feels like she's living in a fever dream. Soaking up the jealous stares from the room, she basks in the clout, barely processing that she's chatting up such a stunner at her own party. She shoots her shot, asking if he's a royal school alum, and when he says yes, she immediately pivots to ask if he's rubbed elbows with the royal family. A moment later, Adrian confirms it, dropping the info that he and Prince Theo go way back from their school days. The Baroness's brain goes into overdrive, mentally redecorating her entire mansion to match the current royal aesthetic. Fishing for intel, she asks what the prince likes to eat. Adrian hits her with a soft curveball, asking if she's planning to cook for him personally. Flustered and embarrassed, she stammers, but he smooths it over, validating how stressful it is to prep food for the elite. Then comes the hook. He offers to introduce her to his exclusive plug, a secretive merchant who only deals in top-tier, imported ingredients for the ultra-rich. The Baroness, stunned and hyped, demands to meet this vendor immediately. Calling it destiny, Adrian escorts her to a humble cottage, claiming this is where the magic happens. The Baroness gives the rundown shack major side-eye, but her judgment is cut short when two figures step out and introduce themselves as Louis Vuitton and Chanel. Yep, it's actually Selena and Owen in cosplay. Our boy welcomes her with open arms, while Selena hypes up the timing of her arrival. The Baroness is skeptical this screams scam, but Owen reveals a dessert described as the latest obsession among foreign royalty, a devilish treat called Tang Hulu. The Baroness eyes the shiny, teared fruit and takes a hesitant bite. Boom. Skepticism deleted. The sugar shell cracks, ASMR style, unleashing a flavor explosion of tangy juice that floods her mouth. The sweet-sour combo is literal perfection. She's flawed by the taste. and silently admits these guys are the real deal. Seeing she's hooked, Owen smooths the transition, bringing up a rumor that she's in the market for a legendary ingredient, known as the plant of immortality. The Baroness perks up, and our boy keeps spinning the yarn, rebranding it as the chickpea of eternal youth, a superfood that reverses aging, boosts health, and cures everything, from constipation to hair loss. Totally sold, the Baroness demands the entire stock, but Owen plays hard to get, saying it's all reserved. Adrian steps in, insisting they pull some strings for a VIP. Our boy acts conflicted, claiming that batch is a gift for the prince from a mystery buyer. The Baroness, panic rising, asks if this buyer has a single daughter. When our boy nods, she realizes her rival is trying to buy the prince's affection with snacks. Desperate, she offers 10 times the asking price. Owen, acting all high and mighty, refuses the cash, claiming their business runs on truth, love, health, and vibes. Selena barely holds back an eye roll at his acting, while the Baroness feels cringe for showing her greed in front of such noble merchants. Adrian plays the hero again, arguing that true compassion means helping the desperate lady right in front of them. The Baroness looks at him, touched, while our boy finally caves and agrees to sell the chickpeas. But before she dips, Owen drops a massive warning. The chickpeas, he claims, hold the mana of the great big fire chicken, the OG poultry god. The rule? Anyone eating them must ban all chicken from their diet, or face rapid aging, disease, and baldness. It's total nonsense, but the Baroness is terrified. The idea of giving up chicken is torture, but looking old? A fate worse than death. She takes the beans and accepts the ban. Adrian cracks a joke about old people and their weird health hacks, and our boy laughs along, mocking the superstition. The Baroness nervously agrees, calling the fire chicken curse outdated trash. Later, back at the clinic, the mission is a success. Pop is safe. Tia is practically glowing with gratitude, thanking our boy for saving her friend. Owen shrugs it off and hands her a custom carrier funded by the Baroness's cash. He explains it's insurance against future disasters. Tia is emotional, calling him her lifesaver. Our boy just chuckles, playing it cool, telling her she can ring him up anytime she needs backup. In the background, the mandrake is majorly salty, glaring, while Pop soaks up all the love. Owen slides in with a part-time gig looking after the critters, and Tia jumps at the chance. But right when the vibes get good, Pop decides the mandrake looks like a snack and tries to inhale him, sending the whole room into a frenzy. After wrestling the little glutton into a cage to cool off, our boy shifts gears. With things settled, he turns to Adrian and hands over the paycheck for his help. Adrian stares at the cash, completely shook by the number, but Ogden quickly drops the reality check. Medical bills, rent, and fees were deducted, leaving a grand total of just 312 silver. Adrian snaps. He grabs our boy by the collar, screaming that he's a total scammer for docking that much coin. Selena steps in, reminding him that the treatment actually worked wonders. Adrian does a complete 180 instantly, gushing over her skills and thanking her for the recovery he felt after taking her meds. Selena promises a refill to keep him healthy, and he accepts it with a goofy grin. Once Adrian bounces, Selena asks the million-dollar question. Was letting him walk away a mistake? Our boy admits the guy's got skills and decent chemistry with her, but he waves off the idea of recruiting him, for now. Selena rolls her eyes, telling him his money hunger is out of control, and betting he's going to regret this move big time. Cut to Prince Theo sipping tea while chatter about the hunting tournament fills the room. Baron Doyle is on his knees, begging for forgiveness, explaining he's been hunting for a chance to snag the Monoceros, but the clinic is never empty enough to make a move. Theo mocks his weak excuses and demands a savage plan to present that Monoceros to Sonia, right in front of the crowd to secure his power. He warns the Baron, mess this up, and you're finished. Suddenly, chaos breaks out. The Baron's pet, Magma, starts tweaking right at feeding time, and lunges for a servant's tray, inhaling a bowl of chickpeas. Theo explodes in a rage, while the Baron hits the floor, swearing to pay back tenfold while frantically trying to calm the prince down. Back at the clinic, a fresh surgery patient is waking up. Staff are warning owners to stay alert for anesthesia side effects, and telling them to keep eyes on their pets. Then Tia runs in, worried sick about Pop's little brother, Chip, who is super low energy and coughing. Ogden checks him out, noting a mild cold and weak muscles, prescribes daily meds, and says to take it easy. But the next day, Tia's back zero improvement, and now her dog is sick too. Suddenly, our boy clicks. He's seeing the exact same symptoms in totally different species, and immediately hospitalizes both to stop the spread. But within days, it's happening everywhere. Pets from different houses show up with identical signs. Our boy realizes this isn't just a cold, it's something bigger. He goes into crisis mode, shouting for owners to mask up and cover their faces. No touching anything without gloves if you've handled a sick pet. He rushes the symptomatic cases up to the second-floor isolation ward, leaving the others downstairs. The symptoms look mild, but the meds? They aren't doing a thing. And this virus doesn't care what species you are. Selena warns that, at this speed, we're looking at a full-blown pandemic. She nailed it. The clinic is instantly overrun, with desperate owners begging for help. He has to turn people away as every hospital in town hits max capacity. Then, Lord Baron bursts in, panicked about his indoor pet, Elizabeth, who he insists should be safe. But the truth comes out, a new turtle he bought was the silent carrier. The Baron asks about empty real estate nearby. A vacant building in the back alley gets offered up as a makeshift annex. Seeing the disaster unfolding, our boy takes the offer without hesitation. Now he's solo running 2 facilities, sprinting between sites, wondering how on earth he's going to survive without another doctor on deck. Meanwhile, Adrian looks around his empty hospital and asks why it's a ghost town. His assistant breaks the news about the outbreak and bets they'll be getting a call for help any second. Right on cue, a letter lands from Oh-jin asking for backup. Bring gear, bring meds, pay rate is 2 gold per hour, plus a performance bonus. Adrian gets salty at the tone, ready to set the disrespectful letter on fire. Then he spots the line about Selena collapsing from exhaustion. Pride goes out the window. Adrian announces he's rolling out. He's staying until this pandemic war is won, declaring that a doctor goes where the disaster is. His assistant shuts up, respecting the move. As the first wave of the epidemic crashes over the land, Pio gathers everyone inside the clinic and locks down the protocol. Strict isolation. Any symptomatic animal gets quarantined, and nobody steps outside unless it's absolutely necessary. The timeline for patient 0 is blurry, and the medical charts are stacking up faster than the team can read them. Adrian is running on fumes after a 12-hour shift, checking swollen throats but ruling out the plague in lucky cases. Selena is buried under 26 hours of lab work, while Oh-jin nurses a fragile rabbit after an 18-hour marathon, wrapping up the treatment with gentle hands despite the exhaustion crushing the whole crew. Then Schwein bursts in with Max, dropping the bad news that 2 prize-fighting dogs for the upcoming tournament have caught the bug. The ward is packed like sardines, and Tyr signals they are at max capacity. But Oh-jin isn't hearing it. He demands they make room, and dives back into the research, swearing they won't lose a single life. Schwein is grateful, but Adrian is skeptical, wondering why they are taking in more souls than they can save. Oh-jin doesn't argue. He just keeps working, refusing to turn anyone away. Pio flags a new problem. Panicked owners are trying to dump their pets, thinking a little cough means game over. Oh-jin shuts that down immediately, warning that abandonment leads to permanent damage, especially for working breeds like hunting dogs who get tossed aside the second their value drops. He stands firm. Every animal gets VIP treatment, useful or not. Deep into the night, Oh-jin tries infusing antibiotics with dragon energy, looking for a miracle cure, but every batch is a bust. Selena steps in, warning him to pump the brakes before the dragon magic stops his heart. He blames unstable mana and starts rambling about alternative meds. Selena realizes he hasn't slept in 3 days, so she knocks him out cold for a mandatory recharge. 5 hours later, Oh-jin wakes up groggy, with Tyr spoon-feeding him. He stares at the egg from Pop, realizing the chicken is totally healthy despite the outbreak. Tyr confirms both Pop and Seonja are immune. Suddenly, the gears in Oh-jin's head start turning, scanning every variable diet, blood type, personality, until his focus locks on to Seonja, who is currently getting spat on by the mandrake, the exact same way the plant spat on Pop. That disgusting habit is the shield. Oh-jin mixes mandrake saliva with a sample from an infected beast, and the gray, dying leaves turn a vibrant green, signaling a cure. The clinic explodes with cheers as the team hails the grumpy mandrake as the real MVP. Now they need mass production. The team argues over methods, but Selena whips up a sugary cocktail, spiked with diuretics. The mandrake chugs it down, and suddenly, the healing drool starts flowing like a fountain. Oh-jin is stunned by the efficiency as they harvest the essence and start synthesizing the antidote. By sunrise, the nightmare is over, Max's cough vanishes, and his energy spikes. Oh-jin finally breathes easy as he jabs the last vaccine doses. But just as he signs off on the final chart, thunderous banging shakes the clinic door. Voices from the street scream that Lord Baron is here for Oh-jin's head. The noble arrives with a squad of goons, drawing a confused crowd whispering about the drama. A moment later, Oh-jin swings the door open, staring the Baron down as the noble accuses him of manufacturing the plague for profit and scamming the people. Oh-jin's jaw tightens, remembering the lie he told to keep Seonja off the radar. He points to the fading M-shaped mark on Seonja as proof of his success, calling out the accusation for what it is, a bluff. The Baron doesn't care about the truth, he just wants the cat. Pio steps up to defend Oh-jin's honor, but the Baron shuts him down instantly. Oh-jin cuts the tension, agreeing to surrender quietly on one condition. He needs to sedate Seonja first. The Baron hesitates but nods. Oh-jin shoots Selena a look, signaling for a magical getaway. Selena totally misreads the vibe, clenching her fists instead. Once Seonja is asleep and caged, a faint light pulses from Oh-jin's ring, giving the go-ahead. Selena doesn't cast a spell. She throws a savage right hook, dropping one of the guards instantly. She snatches the cage and sprints into the mob. The Baron screams at his men to chase her, proving the cat is the only target. Oh-jin knew it all along. This was a setup. The Baron grabs Oh-jin by the collar, threatening to tear the place apart, but Pio blocks him, refusing to let the clinic take damage. Adrian steps up to back Pio, staring the Baron down until the noble retreats under the public's judgment. The guards drag Oh-jin away. Moments later, Oh-jin leaves the clinic in Pio and Adrian's hands, praying Selena is long gone. Rumors start spreading through the city that Oh-jin, the guy who slayed the Monoxus, is actually the villain behind the sickness. The Baron demands a public trial, and the whole town is watching. Inside a dark cell, Oh-jin finally catches his breath after the chaos, until the Baron walks in with his pack of wolves. He demands the cat and the elf's location. Oh-jin stays dead silent, smirking internally, knowing his friends are safe. The Baron snaps, threatening violence as his wolves start to growl. Our main man spots Magma shaking like a leaf, posture all twisted and radiating pure agony. He gives the wolf a quick once-over, noticing bloody urine and 0 energy levels. The verdict? A nasty hernia that's been ignored for way too long. Owen knows it's do or die. This animal needs surgery. Stat. Meanwhile, outside the mansion walls, Selena is laying low with Siona, who is getting seriously antsy. Selena tightens her hold, whispering a fierce promise to keep calm, and swearing our boy is safe and sound. Back inside, Owen locks in the hernia diagnosis and instantly takes charge, ordering the beast moved to a sterile room for emergency surgery. He starts barking out commands for tools, meds, and anesthesia, keeping total command of the chaos. Once the wolf goes under, and the site is scrubbed clean, our boy cuts in with laser focus. The Baron is hovering nearby, practically vibrating with anxiety, while a servant rushes over protective gear to keep things sterile. Owen is in total beast mode during the op, calling for temp checks, timing anesthesia doses down to the second, and demanding every single tool be spotless. The Baron is sweating it, not sure if he can trust this guy's skills. He steps out, second-guessing everything, until a memory of Magma's mom smacks him in the face, reminding him she died, showing the exact same signs. He stares at her portrait, and it finally clicks, she had the same condition. Meanwhile, the Baron's desk is drowning in petitions, screaming for Owen's release. Even Lady Marianne chimes in, representing Astrid's family with a heavy threat. Free the doc, or they're snitching to the king about the false charges. The staff is freaking out over the massive backlash, but back in the OR, success. The surgery is a wrap. The Baron sprints over and sees his furry friend breathing easy. Owen calmly breaks down the aftercare, 1 week of meds, and a follow-up to pull the stitches. Suddenly, the adrenaline crashes, and our boy drops onto a sofa, passing out cold after days of non-stop grinding. The Baron spots the raw, red marks the handcuffs left on Owen's wrists, and quietly orders the guards to never use them again. Back in his cell, our boy drifts off and dreams of home sweet home. He hears his parents' voices ghosting through. Mom is worrying that his clinic is going to tank again, while Dad is grumbling about his stubborn streak, bringing up how Owen turned down med school to be a vet instead. He doesn't get the glory in saving animals, but in the dream, Owen just feels peace. Then, a creature nuzzles up to him, looking like a mix between a cat and a lion, radiating pure warmth. Elsewhere, Theo is grilling the Baron about the missing Minotaur. The Baron spills the beans. The Etherian Order took it. And Selena? She is one of their operatives. Intel links her to some shady elf factions. Theo blows a gasket, trashing the Baron for being so incompetent. The Baron eats humble pie and tentatively asks if he can cut Owen loose, citing the avalanche of complaints from both nobles and regular folks alike. Theo is over it and tells him to make the call. Back at the mansion, the cage door opens. Before bouncing, Owen tells the staff to bring Magma back in 3 days to yank the stitches and hands them a strict care list. A servant brings up a hunting dog with busted knees, and our boy promises to check it out later. He steps outside and finds the squad waiting at the gate. He is stunned when they admit they were about to siege the castle if he didn't walk out that door right then. He hits them with a heartfelt thanks. And just like that, Siona, Mandrake, and Pop charge in, tackling him in a massive group hug. Selena is standing back, safe and beaming, holding Siona close. Owen flashes back to his dream, and the figure that felt just like her, knowing deep down that being a vet was absolutely his destiny. Watching from a high window, the Baron stays silent. His servant nervously asks if they are really just letting him walk. The Baron keeps staring as the servant insists something weird went down. Inside the cell, he saw Monoceros licking the doc's face before disappearing into thin air. The Baron waves it off, but inside, He is shaken, realizing Owen actually won this war. A few days later, a sealed envelope hits the Baron's desk. It is an itemized bill from our boy. The Baron reads it and crushes the paper, swearing a lifelong vendetta. Next morning, Adrian shows up at the clinic, saying hey to Selena and dropping off the herbs she ordered. Owen watches from the sidelines, wondering why this guy keeps popping up. Selena checks the stash, shocked he found such rare stuff out of season. Adrian flexes, claiming nothing is out of his league. She hands him another shopping list, and he snatches it up like a prize. As Selena reviews the goods, Adrian hypes up the top-tier quality. Adrian is geeking out over a pristine sprig of Sprinza, but blink, and you miss it, the thing vanishes from his grip. The perp? Bloop. That little jelly blob is casually snacking on the prize. Adrian snaps, reaching in to salvage the goods, but chomp. Bloop sinks his teeth right into Adrian's finger. Then, the little menace splits into a trio, and Whack slaps him across the face. Rubbing his cheek, Adrian grumbles that pets really do mirror their owner's toxicity, implying every critter raised by our boy has serious attitude issues. Selena cuts him off, claiming Bloop is her baby, which cues Adrian's lightbulb moment. No wonder the thing has such expensive taste in herbs. Bloop cracks a mischievous smirk, and Adrian goes rigid. Did that slime just smile at him? Creepy. Selena tosses Bloop into a cage to keep the chaos contained within the clinic walls. But Bloop, aka Ping Ping, he ain't your average blob. He starts narrating his own villain arc, claiming the second-floor herb room is his personal kingdom. Out of the hundreds of critters passing through daily, only 2 hold real power here, himself, and the clinic's enforcer, Kim Seo-jin's right hand. Even though Xionia is built like a tank with unmatched strength, she knows better than to poke the bear. See, embedded in Ping Ping's forehead is a vision core that lets him clone himself infinitely, unleashing absolute calamity on anyone who ticks him off. When they first met, Xionia's instincts screamed danger and she swung first, but Ping Ping flexed his power, shutting that down instantly. Since then, he's been living the high life under Selena's protection, co-ruling the clinic alongside Xionia. Cut to later that day, an owner bursts in, panic mode, clutching a lifeless pet. It got steamrolled by a carriage. Begging for a miracle, Oh-jin inspects the tiny body, clears the airway, and barks orders for timed compressions. He goes full ER mode with the CPR, tuning out the owner's doubt. A tense few seconds pass, and cough, the little guy gasps for air. Total shock shifts to awe. It's a bona fide miracle. Ping Ping watches from his cell, actually impressed by our boy's ability to snatch a soul back from death's door. Oh-jin asks for a single leaf from Mandel. Ping Ping sneers, reminding everyone that Mandel is just a lowly minion, known for his pathetic little dances. He throws shade, but Mandel glares right back, which only makes Ping Ping troll him harder, amused by the silence. Night falls over the clinic, and Ping Ping hits his grind set running on his wheel until he splits into 3 clones, unleashing absolute mayhem everywhere. He stops to admire his stronghold, a VIP setup gifted by our boy, perfectly climate-controlled for maximum comfort. But the vibe checks out instantly. Fury explodes when he finds his precious base trashed beyond recognition. Suspect number 1, Mandel. The plant is smirking from the shadows. Ping Ping sees red, accusing the veggie of rebellion. But Mandel's been juicing on medicinal herbs and stands his ground. Ping Ping wastes no time, roasting him for challenging the king, then launches a strike. Mandel swerves, and Ping Ping goes flying, crashing backward. Dusting himself off, Ping Ping notes Mandel's new stats. He's buffed up, but he reminds the plant, without that pot, he's just compost waiting to happen. With a savage blow, Ping Ping shatters the pot, sending Mandel sprawling into the dirt in total despair. Asserting dominance, Ping Ping demands he bend the knee. But Mandel isn't done desperate and furious. He charges up his ult, a sonic shriek that busts eardrums. Ping Ping senses the nuke incoming, tries to cover his ears, and realizes, uh-oh, his stubby arms can't reach. But the attack glitches, just a pathetic tremble. Ping Ping cackles at the fail, savoring his opponent's total collapse. Moments later, our boy bursts in, investigating the ruckus. He scans the war zone and spots Mandel sobbing amidst the pottery shards. Instantly reading the room, he drops to his knees beside the weeping plant, soothing him, promising it's gonna be okay. Picking up the broken pieces, Oh-jin cracks a faint smile and decides it's upgrade time. Since Mandel apparently chugged an overdose of supergrowth serum, he's blown up to 1.5 times his size. Our boy preps a luxury suite, a massive pot layered with top-tier soil, and topped off with premium organic nutrients. But as soon as Mandel settles into the penthouse, he starts looking off. Oh-jin investigates, totally stumped by the plant's lethargy. Selena, watching like a hawk, suddenly yanks one of Mandel's leaves. Our boy whips around in shock, just as a whimpering cry erupts from the plant, echoing through the halls. He flinches, covering his ears, while Selena freezes, realizing she might have messed up. After a heavy silence, Mandel gives a weak reaction. Our boy deduces that constantly yanking him out of his pot has nerfed Mandel's voice, but reassures him it'll reboot naturally. Fast forward to the next day, and Mandel looks terrible, leaves drooping, color faded, like he's aging in fast forward. Oh-jin starts panicking, terrified the poor guy is going to shrivel up and die. Selena wonders if they skimped on the fertilizer and suggests a double dose, but before she can move, Pio steps in, dropping truth bombs. She warns them against being clueless, insisting that swapping all the soil caused a massive rejection. That familiar dirt is like Mandel's immune system. Swapping it all at once left him too weak to adapt. If they'd waited any longer, Mandel is on death's door. Poe immediately takes command, barking orders to strip the leaves to lock in that precious moisture. They rush the pot to a shady, breezy spot, totally blocking out the sun to shut down the photosynthesis vibe. Oh-jin whispers to the little guy, begging him to hang in there. That night, under the pale moonlight, Mandel stands freezing still, leaking sap like tears. Enter Ping Ping, waddling in without a care in the world, trying to deliver a playful kick to the dying plant. Our boy snatches him up midair before he can connect. Then it hits him. Ping Ping is the culprit who swiped the medicinal herbs. Oh-jin starts roasting him for being a greedy glutton, pointing at his expanding waistline. Ping Ping's response? He chomps right down on Oh-jin's fingers. Bam! Shonja steps in and whacks Ping Ping upside the head. Suddenly, the mark on his body lights up like a flare, panic mode engaged. Our boy senses a dangerous energy spike and screams for everyone to stop before it blows. His necklace activates, blasting a barrier around Ping Ping. It starts draining the mark's power, the division core. The necklace sucks it all in. Oh-jin gets knocked back as the magical shockwave ripples through the room. A stray pulse zap hits Mandel's pot. Instant revive. The color rushes back, and he's looking vibrant again. He even starts doing a happy little wiggle dance. Our boy is stunned. Selena breaks it down for the class. The juice from Ping Ping's core kick-started Mandel's cells, triggering insane regeneration and a massive growth spurt. Poe is celebrating hard, relief washing over her face, while Oh-jin lets out a nervous laugh. Selena scoops up the drained Ping Ping, promising his core will recharge eventually. Little dude is out cold. Our boy warns them to keep Mandel's leaves off Ping Ping's menu. Selena just marvels at the genius of the division core that saved their skins. She silently thanks her master for the tech. Meanwhile, over in the western forest, there's a spooky legend called The Tale of the Legless Beauty. She looks like a gorgeous woman with flowing hair, but don't be fooled. She's actually a flesh-eating monster with razor teeth and